distasteful, and I wish that I had said that differently. And I see that it
Thank
came
you.
off bad. It came off bad, and I was wrong on that one. I totally agree. Watching
Thank
that
you.
clip back, I'm regretful about how I spoke about it. So
Thank you.
I agree with you.
Okay, that's fair. I see. This is. I wish you were this open-minded for the past 16 months, Ethan, because I feel like a lot of the conversations that have taken
Well, my
place.
problem is not with your philosophy on Palestine. My problem is with your community and the harassment you've leveled against
Ethan,
me and my family.
People make inferences off of what you say. They do not know what's in your heart. Okay, and this is something that I privately,
agree on a lot of things.
That
The
I
issue is the
privately talked to you
harassment.
about in the beginning after October 7. I told you time and time again privately.
Okay,
that
bro, you've
the
talked
reason
a
why
lot.
people
Let's just
think
move on,
you are
please.
behaving like a. The reason why people think you are a Zionist is not because you're Jewish, but because of what you're saying. They heard your
What did I say
output,
that's
and
Zionist?
they made these inferences.
What have I
off of your
ever said
output.
that shows that I'm Zionist?
Ethan, the way that you have tackled this subject matter.
Say one thing that has shown the world, undoubtedly, how Zionist I am.
I mean, you just
that I am worthy of the scorn of you
just
and the
recognized
entire
how
left.
wrong that was. What you just said. So that's one.
Okay,
that's one example.
does that mean I'm a Zionist? I mean, and by the way, that was a recent clip. That doesn't explain the last 2 years.
Yes, it doesn't. And there's
So
plenty
what did I
there as
say in
well.
the last 2
There's
years
plenty
besides
there as
that
well.
clip?
What
did I say, Hasan? What did I say that's Zionist? You can't give me one fucking contextual example of me saying something that's Zionist after this entire. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
You have something?
I have many things. As recently as last month,
List one example of me saying something Zionist.
Just calm down and listen. As recently as last month,
you're not answering my question. You're just doing this gish galloping.
Hamas is actually putting hostages inside of hospitals. Hamas is actually using tunnel systems under hospitals, and that is part of the reason why Israel is bombing hospitals. Bombing hospitals is a war crime. Okay. Bombing hospitals is a war crime. In your conversation,
I don't defend that.
In your conversation with Sam Cedar, while on the one hand you now recognize that Israel's doing a genocide, and you have in the past as well, for sure, but you've also gone back and forth on it, and you've called it a war or whatever.
Never.
But having said that, in your conversation with Sam Cedar, you thought you had a gotcha where you said that, well, I find it very strange that there's not a single bomb shelter in Gaza.
That's a condemnation of Hamas.
What?
That is a condemnation of Hamas.
I think that's a condemnation of your assessment of reality.
How is that pro-Zionist? How is me criticizing Hamas pro-Zionist? Would you like to explain that?
Do you think a bomb shelter would actually survive bunker buster bombs? What are you talking about?
Be a lot fucking safer than the seventh floor of an apartment building.
For Israel to actually systematically destroy every hospital.
You're okay with Hamas spending the totality?
Can I ask you a question? Crosshairs.
Can I please ask you a question? Again, me criticizing Hamas makes me a Zionist?
You criticizing Hamas makes you a Zionist?
That's what you're claiming.
I mean, it depends on how. It depends on what you're saying. Yes.
Well, you know exactly what I said.
You can have criticisms of Hamas in terms of like their own internal domestic affairs, in terms of their governance. But if that's your hyper focus, then yes, people are going to make that inference that you are definitely against any kind of resistance against the state of Israel, because
they don't make bomb shelters.
Because your expectation from the Palestinians is to just simply sit there and take it, so you can fucking act like you felt bad 10 years down the line.
Everything that you claim, the whole fucking apparatus of harassment that exists across social media with you at the center of it, infringes on an inference that you maybe meant this. I have never once said I'm Zionist. The only reason people believe that is because you repeat it maliciously,
the reason why people
time
believe
and
that
time
is because
again.
Of your hyper focus on
you,
and your distractions.
That makes me a Zionist.
And your deliberate deplatforming attempts towards pro-Palestinian content creators. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You
being pro-Palestine doesn't absolve you of guilt.
The genocide, but you also literally get mad at people who fight back. You get mad at the Houthis.
So I'm public enemy number one.
You call Hezbollah a terror group, which is, by the American state's definition, absolutely considered a terror group. But there are plenty of terror groups that have successfully
Do you not consider Hezbollah a terror group?
American imperialism and other forms of settler colonial violence.
Do you not consider Hezbollah a terrorist group?
I think the definition of terrorism by the American State Department is intentionally vague to deny people their
about
habeas corpus, deny people their due process. It is there to justify whatever kind of militant action that the American government can take. This is a severe violation of the American
Okay,
Constitution.
very good.
So yes,
Hasan,
I
please.
think that
I
this
want to have
definition is
can
intentionally
I
vague.
give
And
you?
it's
Can I
fucking
ask? Can I request something?
is silly.
Can I ask? Can I please request something? I'm interested in having a conversation. You take this and you just go on and on and on and on. You repeat yourself. You double down on the same point. I just want to have a conversation. You make your point and then you move on. You're doing too much. Please.
The
we're going to be
American
here.
terrorism designation is silly. Do we agree?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, here, I'll be more
use its
precise.
definition without ever actually thinking about
You're right.
it. What do you
Fuck
mean?
it. Let me be more precise. Here's what you said.
Allah is a paramilitary organization.
Do we like them or no?
They are a terrorist organization. Like they're designated. They are designated by the American state as a terrorist organization.
I do not like them then.
Well, like
I like what you like.
I don't have an issue with them. Let's just say.
What did you mean by that? You do not have an issue with Hezbollah.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Exactly. All right, let me explain. I do not have a single issue with the way that Hezbollah has defended southern Lebanon. I do not have a single issue with Hezbollah as a form of militancy trying to incur penalties on the genocidal state of Israel. Because if you recognize that it is a genocide, then what is the expectation from other parties involved in the region? The very fact that other countries, the very fact that other countries are not also up in arms is ridiculous, considering that Israel is a belligerent force that is destroying everything in the fucking region because it has an underlying exterminationist policy. And you agree with that because it's a genocide. You said it's a genocide.
Speak, please.
So what is the expectation?
Hasan, please. This conversation is becoming impossible if you don't just stop talking for a minute and allow me to respond.
Okay.
Okay.
Now respond.
Thank you. Thank you. Hezbollah, when it was first founded, I think was a noble thing, right, of defending Lebanon from the IDF invasion, and they were successful in sending them back to Israel. Now, since then, a lot of terrible shit has happened, right? And you sat there and you said, I do not have a problem with them. So do you not have a problem with what Hezbollah did in Syria, mass murdering civilians on the behest of Assad?
Can you find a single instance where I've actually said I have no problem with Hezbollah's actions in Syria?
You said I don't have a problem with Hezbollah.
No, that specifically.
You know what's so funny?
Do you feel like that is the entirety of my conversation? Because I have talked about Hezbollah's actions in Syria, as a matter of fact, and I do have a problem with that. Yes,
you're precise with your words, right?
I don't think that harming civilians is in any way, shape, or form remotely correct. Now, having said that, I'm glad that you brought up Hezbollah because, again, in your video, you falsely claim that Hezbollah is responsible for 500,000 deaths in the Syrian conflict. Okay? Yeah. You say that Hezbollah is responsible for 500,000 deaths in the Syrian conflict.
They participated.
That is the entirety of the deaths, including the Hezbollah militancy, in the Syrian civil war.
And therefore what? They did nothing wrong?
No. That's not what I'm saying at all.
So what does it matter the exact count?
You erroneously claimed that they were responsible for all the deaths. You stood in front of
they collaborated.
Footage. You stood in front of footage of an entire town that was destroyed by what? Yeah. By barrel bombs. Who has the capacity to have a air force and use barrel bombs to destroy an entire city? Do you think Hezbollah has an air force?
They participated. You're not listening. You're being silly.
Is that why you posted that photo?
Why are you defending Hezbollah's action in Syria? Do you think that's a good look?
I'm not defending their action.
You sure are. You're like, Hezbollah didn't do that.
Do you think
Hezbollah would never blow up a village in Syria?
Do you think Hezbollah has an air force?
Do you think I think that?
Well, you implied it when you showed a hollowed-out town that was barrel bombed, most likely by Russian forces.
The government, bro.
So why? Why did you use that imagery to imply that Hezbollah had killed 500,000 people?
They were complicit.
This is my main problem with you, Ethan. You are spreading.
You're defending terrorism right now, by the way.
What?
You are defending a terrorism right now.
No, dude, I'm defending the truth. How is this so hard to comprehend for you?
The truth is, what Hezbollah did in Syria wasn't that bad.
They did not kill 500,000 people in Syria.
Okay, so wasn't that bad? So what Hezbollah did in Syria wasn't that bad? How many did they kill?
You are taking away the responsibility.
You're minimizing their actions. How many did they
kill? You're taking the responsibility away from ISIS. You're taking the responsibility away from the Russian military.
I'm putting blame on Hezbollah where it belongs. How many did they kill?
I don't even know the exact number of how many they killed. I believe it's like around 2,000 to 5,000, which once again is inappropriate. I have no issue saying that.
Did they collaborate with Assad?
They did, yes. They did. They did.
And so what is the issue here exactly? You said you have no issue with them. I think that's a problem.
I've described it numerous times at this point. I have no issue with Hezbollah's militancy against a state that is conducting a genocide. That much is very clear.
You didn't say any of that. You said, I do not have a problem with Hezbollah.
As a matter of fact, there are plenty of instances where I have talked about Hezbollah's militancy in Syria.
When you're done lying, I'll explain.
Wait, what?
When you're done lying, I'll explain. You didn't say that.
What do you mean?
You said
lying? I'm telling you what my position
You were talking
right
to a
now.
normie. You were talking to a normie who didn't understand anything about the conflict, and he said, well, how do we feel about Hezbollah? A general question. How do we feel about Hezbollah? Your answer was, I don't have a problem with them. Let's just say. And then, by the way, Hasan, you start trying to minimize their inclusion in this fucking wanton slaughter of Syrian civilians.
Wait, what? I'm minimizing their inclusion in the wanton slaughter of Syrian civilians?
Here's what you said, because you want to be precise.
You made up.
I do not like them.
I like
what you like.
You stupidly said that they killed 500,000
This-
civilians. What are you talking about? I did not minimize their wanton slaughter in the Syrian civil war.
Do you think that they didn't participate with Assad to make that happen? I mean, they were
did.
allied. They participated. Okay, so then why are you defending them?
I'm not defending them.
You sure
Ethan.
sounds like it.
I have already described to you that I am critical of their actions. You are misquoting me. You are misunderstanding.
I'm verbatim
what I'm
repeating
saying,
what you
and
said.
I'm having
You
a conversation
liar.
directly with you, so I don't understand. I'm not.
How can you
minimizing
lie
what
to
they did.
people? Like,
I'm
we
minimizing
just watched the clip.
the arbitrary number that you put there because you don't do enough research.
No, that number was based on the totality of deaths. My claim was that they participated in it. You were not critical of their actions
Why did
in
you
this
put
clip.
so you're telling me you've never claimed that Hezbollah has killed more Muslims than Israel has, that IDF has?
I don't know when I think I did say that, and I think that was wrong.
Yeah,
I was
you
incorrect
said that
on
numerous
that.
times. You actually said you chat
I don't think about numerous
against
times.
AB when AB was like, I don't think that's correct.
Yeah. By the way, I that's something I looked into, and I was actually wrong about that for
Okay.
sure.
Don't you feel like this kind of misinformation is somewhat? Don't you think that saying stuff like that is going to make people infer that you might be more pro-Israel than you let on?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't
mean I'm
work like
Zionist?
this, right? You're not just like clicking a box and you're like, well, I said it was a genocide. What more do you want from me? Okay, you did. But then you spend all of your time criticizing people,
Responding to
who
harassment.
are offering analysis and not justification, but
Can I
analysis.
can I flip it on you a little bit?
Formed. You're upset with people
Can I
learning
Hasan, you're doing
about,
it. You're doing it again.
Well, I'm not doing anything. I'm
You're just
hoping
talking,
to
bro.
explain to you something so you recognize that you're wrong, as you've done twice now.
No, you
So
don't need to
this is
explain anything to me.
productive now.
I understand your point. Don't you? So you're accusing me of being irresponsible with my words. Don't you think saying you have no issue with Hezbollah makes people think you're pro-terrorist?
I don't care that people think this. It's ridiculous.
So are people valid for thinking you're pro-terrorist when you say?
Do you believe the State Department's
Answer.
designation for terrorism
Whoa!
is
Answer the
valid?
question. Is it reasonable for people to think that you are pro-terrorist when you say I have no problem with Hezbollah?
Do you believe the State
Whoa,
Department's
answer the question.
designation for
You
terrorism
gotta
is
answer
valid?
that one. You answer my question, and I'll answer yours. Are people
Ethan,
valid
you
in
rely
considering
heavily on your
Can you
audience
answer?
not really understanding the
please
terms that
answer
you
my
are
question.
using.
Let it
okay?
be noted
When
you are
say,
dodging-
Oh, Hasan defends terrorists. Okay, There's a
Literally
reason
just
why
did.
you say that. You say that to disparage
literally
me
just did.
without actually addressing my arguments. And now when you're faced with me face to face to talk
God,
about
bro,
these
you're doing it
issues,
again.
you agree with me. So if you agree with me, you called Hezbollah a noble group. Should I just run around being
beginning,
like
shit
defense
changed.
terrorism? Well, I think you do, but for a different
I
reason.
said their
and we'll get to
actions
that in
were
a second.
noble. I didn't call them a noble group. Again, you have a problem with the truth.
You just said that their inception
I
was
said their
a
actions
noble
were
one.
noble.
You said
Yeah.
Hezbollah was
It's different from saying Hezbollah is a noble organization. But I really need you to answer this. Isn't it reasonable for people to assume you're pro-terrorist if you say stuff like, I have no problem with Hezbollah? Just answer the question, yes or no?
I don't think it's reasonable for people to assume that I'm pro-terrorism because I think people are going to assume that regardless because I am
But
presenting
people can
a
assume I'm
position-
Zionist. But it's
What?
okay for people to it's okay for people to assume I'm Zionist.
Yes, because
Got it.
No,
The
you don't
logic
understand
is
what I'm saying.
clear.
I get why people assume that. I get why people assume
I get why
fucking
people assume
pro-terrorist.
you're pro-terrorist.
Yeah. Do you feel?
Do
okay,
you?
let's talk about that then. Do you feel like someone being branded pro-terrorist is as impactful under the Trump administration as someone being pro-Israel is?
Well, as someone who's been branded as a pro-Israel Zionist in my space, it is a horrifically fucking it's resulted in the unbelievable, unprecedented. I've been on the internet for 10 years, right? I've been through all kinds of controversies, all kinds of shit. I have never once in my entire life, Hasan, experienced the amount of harassment, the organized, psychotic campaign to try to ruin my life,
Dude.
all of my
Dude.
stop.
Dude.
All my employees' life, my family's life, their family's life. This is your community acting in response to what you're saying about
Do you have
me
any
being
evidence that this
pro-Zionist.
is my
So do I think
community?
it's
Do you have
worse?
any
In my
evidence that this
experience,
is my
it's much
community
worse.
that's done any of these things that you're talking about?
Okay, Hasan, can I ask you a question? Why the fuck were you browsing H3 Snark the other day and pulling clips from that?
I don't know. Someone fucking sent me a clip in the chat.
Oh, okay. And so you shit and pissed about me pulling a meme from Destiny's subreddit.
Ethan,
I have
look
never
to
even
your-
pulled the subreddit up, but you're on stream browsing H3 Snark. How do you explain that?
Ethan, your entire subreddit is a snark subreddit dedicated to me. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's literally not true, but
I don't have a single issue at this point. What are you talking about? You have personally moderated your own subreddit to turn into this, by the way.
What?
So many people that have criticized
you're
you
lying.
from your own fan base have left your
Hasan,
community
you
for this
said your
reason.
community
because
has
you can't
nothing to
take
do
a
with
fucking
this.
ounce of criticism from your paying members. How many people are like, I love Teddy Fresh. I have so many fucking pieces of Teddy Fresh clothing. Now I feel embarrassed to wear it because look at what he has become.
There's
This
plenty
is
of
at the
fans.
heart of
Don't
this
worry about
problem. If
that.
you want to talk about it, from the perspective of psychoanalysis, the real
No,
reason why you've gone on
Hasan,
this endless
you are
vendetta
lying.
is because
You
you
said-
can't comprehend the
Jesus
reality.
Christ, bro.
that
I just want to have a
your
conversation. I don't want to
your
just
own
like
audience
just
that you've
gish out
cultivated
forever.
has a difference in opinion in the way that you've presented yourself throughout this conflict.
Hasan,
And if
please,
you
let me just
demonstrated,
talk. This is
if- if
you
you
say
demonstrated
your
a
community has
fraction,
nothing to do with the harassment that I've received.
Ethan, if you demonstrated,
please,
Ethan,
Hasan,
listen
let me
to me.
finish a point.
If you demonstrated
Hey,
a
dude, you
fraction,
gotta let me finish a
I'm gonna
point.
mute
This is
you.
ridiculous.
I'm gonna mute you and just keep talking if you keep doing this.
Okay, that's great. I think that means you won the debate.
Yeah. No. Listen to me. If you
So I'm not
demonstrated a
muted.
fraction
So hold
of
on,
the
let me
humility,
finish. You gotta let me say something.
if you demonstrated a fraction of the humility you did just now,
You've
most
got
people would not have
to
left your
let me
community. By the
say
way,
something. I don't care that they left the community. That was obvious.
you definitely do.
I've got plenty of fans left. Don't worry. Here, listen. You claim your community has nothing to do with the harassment. Yet you said in the same breath that your chat linked you to H3 Snark, the subreddit primarily responsible for coordinating that harassment, and you pulled it up on your stream.
Do you have evidence that H3 Snark called CPS on you?
Did I say
Like
that?
random anonymous Redditors?
Did I say that?
Wait, what's the?
I said
So who
they're
called
primary responsible for
CPS?
harassing me.
Who called CPS?
What the fuck? So I don't know. Did I claim they did? You're dodging, bro. You are absolutely dodging. You claim
Ethan.
your community has nothing to do with the harassment, yet you are
Ethan.
browsing H3 Snark. Now, let me
Ethan,
ask you this,
you-
Hasan.
you
How many times have I
absolutely- you
browsed the
absolutely,
Destiny
without
subreddit
evidence,
on my
have
show?
blamed virtually everyone for calling CPS. Answer my question. So you don't know
What?
who called CPS, and yet for the past couple of months, you've been like, it's whoever I don't like
It's
that is
the
called
fucking
CPS. And now you're
no.
claiming that my community is responsible for it.
I think it's the tone. No, bro, what is wrong with you? Did I say your community called CPS? The harassment
You're
campaign is a
inferring
much
it.
more
Yes,
broad than
you're
that.
inferring
Absolutely
it.
not. You can't address an actual issue, so you turn it into you're straw manning, basically. I'm saying your
Bro,
community is responsible for this participating in this harassment campaign. You said chat sent you this link, did they not?
Yes. Last week. What are you talking about?
Okay, so your chat is involved with H3 Snark, which, by the way, funnily enough, the new Snark page is called Leftovers H3, and it's got a picture of you in the avatar.
Shout out to Leftovers H3.
It's got a picture of you, Hasan. You don't need to shout him out. You're already doing it. Don't you think that's odd?
Did it.
No, I think it's.
Also, what do you think? Like, first of all, do you think I have any say on what fucking happens in these subreddits? What are you talking about?
But you have a say what happens in your Discord and chat, which you absolutely do not moderate. And there's so much evidence of the disgusting shit.
That's also completely fucking false.
Well, why did you criticize XQC for not moderating his chat when you called in?
Ethan, I can't
why
believe you would.
Did you criticize XQC for not moderating his chat?
Yes, XQC has actively used this community over the course of many years at this point, as he was, doing Gamba and wanted to fucking keep gambling and felt bad that I was criticizing him to attack me. Okay, there is a difference between someone
and that's
doing
different
that,
than what your community has done. How?
What?
How is that different than your community attacking me?
You want to know how it's different? I have an 8-minute clip compilation all the way from when our podcast ended all the way to December of 2024 where I actively defend you. That is moderating my community.
Bro, I do not give a fuck about your quote-unquote defending as your community went rabid with your approval. Please spare me.
With my approval? I just told you.
It's your community, bro. You literally say in this clip that it's let me play this clip for you,
Ethan,
because it will show just
people
what a liar
don't fucking
hypocrite you
like
are.
you, big dog. I don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Oh, they love you,
what do you
huh?
Want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Fucking everybody
They don't
loves
like you.
Hasan.
You're fucking-
Everybody loves iDubbbz too.
Ethan, people don't
My
like
objective
you.
is not to be liked, Hasan.
Like
That
you.
might surprise you. It might surprise you. My objective in life is not to be liked. Or I mean, it's not to specifically be liked. That is not my objective. I know that's foreign to you.
Why are you bringing any of this up? People don't like you. I can't change that. Okay, there's plenty of people who don't like me either.
My whole career's been people not liking me, but I've never experienced this level of harassment. You are unwilling to contend or concede at any point that you are.
Yeah, because I'm not responsible for it. Here, play this video, Dan. Here you go.
Anyway, it's not about being liked either. It's about harassment, bro.
Go ahead. Show your audience, because you've been saying that I've been like leading a harassment
Yeah.
campaign.
I'm waiting for it.
I sent it.
Are you?
It's embarrassing
Dan,
too.
sorry, hold
especially
on.
because
Dan
the
is
way
in the
you behave
bathroom.
now. Ugh.
Dan is in the bathroom, so hold on. You okay?
My argument with you in that conversation where I said there's not anything I can do was literally because of the way you were presenting yourself. In the conversation that we had, you inferred that JVP was akin to capos. You said that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free
bro.
is actually
I'm not going to let you stomach me with, again, another pathetic fucking lie. Holy shit.
You literally fucking posted about a pro-Palestinian dude on Twitter saying that he would be thrown off of roofs like fucking Hamas is ISIS. If you say all of that, if it walks like a duck, it walks like a duck, most people are going to not think that you're a chicken. They're going to think you're a duck.
Okay, I'm not going to get sunlocked by these insane accusations. I never called them capos. That's what you said. That's part of the harassment campaign. You put those words in my mouth, and now it's something that I still hear. I have never called them capos.
So you haven't, as recently as a month ago, still called them token Jews, and that they are completely off base with the rest of the
Is that the same as capos? Do you have a problem with like levels? It's all or nothing. Is calling someone criticizing someone via token the same as calling them capos?
Why would you call Jews who are standing against genocide, which you also recognize as a genocide?
Can I play this? This is the clip.
That are not representative of the broader movement.
They're
You also called Matt Lieb a capo.
Matt Lieb's a disgusting human being who platformed Bad Empanada, who's
So you do have a problem. You do have a problem with
Matt Lieb
Jews
specifically.
That you
yes.
don't like, and you are quick to call them
I have a
capos.
problem with Matt Lieb, who's platforming Bad Empanada. Yes, clearly. Is there? You don't like Bad Empanada. You understand? A year ago, you were talking about how crazy he was.
Yeah, but I'm not.
But suddenly, when he starts talking about me, he's your best friend.
Yeah,
Interesting.
You're right. You're right. I think Bad Empanada is insane. But you know what I also always say?
And all of a sudden, you love his videos. Why is that?
Bad Empanada, and I've
Why do you
maintained
love
this
his videos
position- I've
suddenly?
maintained this
Before you
position-
pledged never to watch his videos on stream. Why do you love them now?
Oh, because he did not want me reacting to his videos initially.
That is a insane, pathetic,
no, that's what it
bold-faced
is.
lie.
No, he said.
You literally
I
told.
have.
Oh my
I
god,
have.
dude. Okay, first of all, let me play this clip of you criticizing XQC.
Okay, wait. You can't just like
And all
dance
these
around
other
Now
the
let's
point.
watch.
We'll
Did you
get to
ask
that.
for it?
Actually,
Hold on, you asked for this. Here's what you said.
because it's
Oh
not
my
something
God!
he
Wait,
would
I
ever
sent
ask
you a clip.
for.
Why aren't
and
you
all these
playing
other
that one?
content creators actually,
watch.
you know, whipping their communities when
Whipping their
chat
communities.
is going fucking absolutely bananas over random dumb shit and bringing my name up for no fucking reason. That you were just allowing that shit to run rampant in your chat. And I thought that was fucked up.
Ethan,
I love you, but there's only so much I can do, especially as someone who thought we were fucking friends. I think that's a reasonable expectation for someone who you consider to be a friend.
The problem wasn't that he was so.
Okay, you have to show my clip now.
It makes sense.
Yeah, okay, no, great. Show my clip.
Sure.
Show my clip that I sent Dan.
Yeah, no problem. But here you go. I'm gonna pull it up for you. Oh yeah, TikTok. This is gonna be good. Ethan Klein debunked 7 minutes, bro. Hold on, I'm not gonna watch the 7 minute
No, you
clip.
don't have to watch
Where do you
7
want me to
minutes
watch?
of it.
Okay, I'll just. You think if I just play it from the beginning, they'll get the
Yeah.
gist of it?
Oh, you'll get
Okay.
it. And you can
All right.
skip towards like the end too if you want, like towards the middle.
By the way, this has 1,000 likes, bro. Are you name searching yourself or what?
No, the person who made it sent it to me.
Oh, okay. Nice.
What?
I guess it's hard hitting.
Ethan is a mega Zionist. You are wrong. Okay, trust me. I don't think you know. I don't think you know many Zionists if you think Ethan is a mega Zionist. Not even close, dude. Time and time
Funnily enough, that's still true.
again, I've spoken about how Ethan is not your enemy. A person who cries when a Palestinian child dies is not your enemy. Okay, he's not. I've said these exact words over and over again.
The problem is that your community is obviously an unhinged, and if you don't defend me, my community is going to get mad at you. It's definitely just an optics play, which, by the way, you
playing.
never stuck to.
Shut
You
up. Keep playing.
Let me guess. It's more videos of you defending me?
Keep playing. Enough.
I told people in this community and people everywhere that will listen to what I have to say that you have to choose who you are actually angry at. There are people who are so loud and so proud about the ethnic cleansing campaign that Palestinians are experiencing currently. Go yell at them. He's been shitting on you on his members-only streams. I don't care. I don't care. Bro literally shot on you yesterday and his coworker for saying from the river to the sea, sorry, dog. I don't care. I watched a minute of it. I really don't give a fuck.
Keep going.
What you said.
No.
Oh, why?
Come on.
It's
We watched
7
a
minutes
lot of
long,
your
bro.
clips. Keep going.
Spare the
This is
audience.
about you. Go on.
What are we going to glean from watching
Keep playing.
longer?
Keep playing it. This is just November 1st.
No,
to
I
the
don't want
middle.
to finish it. I know what it is.
Go
you
to the
talk
middle.
kindly about. Okay, here I'll go to the middle for you. Okay.
You think I'm not moderating my fucking community? You think I'm
You
not
absolutely
trying to
are
get
not.
people to stop
No,
yelling about you at that point?
Okay, let me go to the middle so you can have your thing, and then we'll move on.
and it frustrates me to no fucking end. I've told you this time and time again in this time frame, just like I kept telling you, Ethan is not your enemy over and over again. That's why I love iDubbbz, Ethan as well, people that have actually changed course, recognize their mistakes.
Okay, I mean, yeah, we get the idea. It's fine. You know what I mean? You're the best friend ever.
Wait, whoa,
by the way,
whoa.
no, whoa.
Well,
My
I was-
turn.
No,
Watch a
yes,
bad
whoa.
You were just screaming, play
You
the
just
video.
said
You
I
told me to
wasn't
shut up.
moderating my community
Hold
and claiming
the
that.
phone. You screamed to shut up and play the video. So I'm going to ask you to return the favor at this moment.
Okay,
You claimed
go
that you
ahead.
didn't watch. Here's what you said about Bad Empanada. You lied to me and said you don't watch his videos because he asked you not to. Magically, when he started talking about me, you became his biggest fan, and you watch his videos on your stream regularly, which has resulted in an explosion of his popularity. Here's what you said about him a year before this conflict.
Put on a video on
Nice
the
shirt,
stream.
by the
I'm
way.
just letting you guys know. If you think I'm gonna fucking watch a YouTube essay from a dude literally openly antagonistic towards me watching fucking YouTube videos, you're out of your fucking mind, okay? You think I want him to write like 700 hours worth of new YouTube essays about how
But
I
that's
have
my
wronged
point.
him? I don't want that. I don't want that at all, okay?
Day genocide propaganda will
Wait,
come.
that's
Thanks
in
for
the clip,
watching.
Ethan. You
Free
keep doing this
Palestine.
thing.
I'm
Thanks for
playing the
watching.
clip.
Yeah, go
Dude,
support this.
yes.
I'm playing the clip. Just
dipshit
chill
that
out.
I told you why I
do
wasn't watching Bad
appreciate,
Empanada videos
regardless of
initially.
Oh my
my
God, Hasan,
disagreements with him
you're talking over the
on
clip. You
his-
need to let it
I don't-
play, okay? You're making the clip unwatchable,
Wait,
Mine, okay?
Ethan,
You think I
oh.
want him to write?
bro. It's just a minute long. You can chill for a minute.
Will come. Thanks for watching Free Palestine. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, go support this,
This is
dipshit that I do appreciate, regardless of my disagreements with him.
That's you now.
On his optics and the ways that he
Go
conducts
support him.
himself with regular frequency.
You link to his
Because
Patreon?
ultimately, his product, his YouTube essays, as a standalone entity, is always solid.
Rick's such a fucking freak, dude. Oh my lord, he is such a goddamn freak. He is the most insane person. He has like 7,000 accounts. I just said I have an official blockade on Bad Empanada videos on this broadcast while I'm live. That's number one. And number two, he's not just mean on Twitter. He is a psychopath, okay? The
This
idea
is
that
correct.
he's just...
By the way, the guy who's a psychopath, who's not just mean on Twitter, who has 7,000 accounts, as you say, is somebody that you gleefully platform his videos about me. So
Ethan,
I'm just saying,
I
your
don't know
community
if you
doesn't do
understand.
harassment, right?
I don't know if you have a-
let's just
I don't know if you have a
promote Bad
command over
Empanada,
the
who
English
literally
language.
exists to harass people by your
None
own
of-
fucking
none
definition.
of the things that you just
Being on
showed
Twitter
is
is ridiculous. He
None
is
of the
not
things you
just
showed is
Well, you're
inconsistent.
He is the
No,
most
you're doing it right now.
insane person on Twitter. Yeah, let me go watch a video about a dude who constantly talks about how I'm fucking a reactionary fake socialist because I watch people's videos. That seems like a good idea. It's age restricted, which means there's like TOS violations galore in there. Fucking Bad Empanada. The cringiest, like, classic angry leftist who never shuts the fuck up and is just angry at the entire planet.
Anyway, let's continue.
Why is he a terrorist? He's an Arab in Yemen. Why else would he be,
Okay,
would he be a terrorist?
here we,
right?
I got it.
Who, by
Yes,
the way,
you're.
what terrorist attack
By the way,
has
you
he
couldn't even
committed?
watch a
What terrorist
fucking
attack has he committed?
7-minute
point to
video
you a
of
terrorist
me
attack that Sheila
actually
Klein has
defending you to
participated
your
in.
audience
What
because that
terrorist
would
attack
kind of
did this guy
betray the narrative that you
Would you point
presented.
It's almost done. It's
But
almost
as
done.
far-
What did
Hasan,
he
it's
do?
almost
He
Okay,
would
done.
go
perhaps
ahead.
benefit tremendously if I did watch his YouTube videos
Here.
on this channel, but I'm never gonna fucking do that.
So you said he would benefit tremendously if I watched him, but I will never fucking do that until he starts shitting on Ethan. By the way, my
No.
community doesn't harass people.
That's not true. Let me explain to you what.
Absolutely,
Do you
provably,
want to
empirically
hear
true.
my perspective, or do you want to fucking just keep playing clips that your production team put together? Okay, so Bad Empanada.
Sorry
Bad-
for preparing.
No. There's no problem with that. I mean, you're still doing a horrible job at it, but it's all good. So
We'll see.
Bad Empanada is crazy. I still say that. He attacks me all the fucking time. He says I'm a Jewish exceptionalist Zionist. Okay, like. There's disagreements that I have with Bad Empanada. There's disagreements with his tactics, as I've shown in that video, as I've said in that video. There's disagreements with the way he presents himself. But if you notice in that video, I also said something. His work on YouTube, okay, his work on his YouTube essays stands alone. Bad Empanada on his
What
YouTube
about his videos
essays,
attacking me? Are
especially when
those
it's
is that part of
issue-specific,
his
Bad
great
Empanada
body of
on
work?
his YouTube essays, especially when it's issue specific, are actually very instructive.
Then why are you
very
watching ones called
informative.
Ethan Klein as a Zionist baby killer? Why are you watching that one? Is that part of his master body of collection? Is that part of the Criterion collection there, buddy?
Yes.
Why does Bad okay, it is good. Why does Bad Empanada role play hunting Hila and killing her in video games?
Have I ever said that I think that's appropriate?
I think no, of course not.
Yeah.
But what you are
Okay.
doing is endorsing this guy.
Do I agree with you that Bad Empanada is crazy and also does crazy shit because he's a fucking scraggly internet troll who is, once again, as a separate, you like to compartmentalize Israel proper from doing a genocide. I like to compartmentalize the content that I'm consuming from a guy who I do think is doing well-sourced, well-researched YouTube essays, who also happens to be a fucking freak who literally
Ethan
hates me.
Klein
But
is
in
a
terms of the
Zionist dog, and
blockade
by the
on
way, I
Bad
wanna kill his
Empanada,
wife.
The reason why that blockade ended, and I've watched other videos that are not related to you from Bad Empanada in the past on this broadcast as well.
many?
The reason why
How
that
many?
blockade ended is because
How many of you watched Not About Me?
What? The reason
How
why
many videos of his have you watched that are not about
I
me?
don't know.
Maybe
I have no idea.
I don't know. Maybe
I've watched a
one.
fuck ton though. I've watched a fuck ton of Bad Empanada videos.
And are most of them about me?
No, not all of them are about you.
Actually, this segues perfectly. You claim I'm obsessed with you.
Okay.
That's part of the narrative, right?
I mean,
Here's
that's not
the-
just
here-
me
this is-
claiming
no,
that, Ethan. I think
no.
at this point, a lot of people see it, right?
Very good. Well, let's see. Let's see. Oh, God damn it. Well, I got to refresh this. So here's an example from one of these clip channels. These are all different clips, right? Over a 2-month period, there's edited down 24 hours of you talking about me. 24 hours. That's
These
over
are
the
most
60.
likely.
Hold on.
These are fan channels.
Let me.
These are
over
fan
a
channels.
60-day
This is
period, that's
disingenuous.
24 minutes per day.
Ethan, these are fan channels. This is disingenuous.
Right.
You're presenting
Right.
the same. You're presenting.
Okay,
fan
first of
channels
all,
that
I'm
are
just showing how
posting-
much you talk about me on stream. Second of all, that the fan channel
Ethan.
defense is let me finish. The fan channel thing is a clever part of your disinformation campaign to avoid any responsibility. And the fact is, if I wanted to show all your fan channels, this is how many fucking videos was uploaded about me in the last 22 days. You think that's regular? You think that's
Ethan, I
regular?
have no control over my
What's
fan
this with
channels.
you?
What do you mean? You're literally showing the same. I say one thing on Twitter on my Twitch
66
stream.
videos about
I say
me.
one thing on my Twitch stream. Fan channels make the video of the same thing over and
And
over
you
again.
love
so
it.
Of course
It's
gonna
all
look
part,
like
so
I'm
you don't
talking
ever have
about
to
you a
accept
lot more than it
responsibility.
actually is, but it's actually the same fucking video.
Yeah. No. Well, so yeah, this is the total.
It's
No,
the
no, no.
same moment.
No. This
It's
has the
usually
same moments. The
same
last one
moment
does not.
multiplied. Go back to the
No,
fucking
this one
photo.
does not have this. No, this one does not have the same moments. This one is unique times you talked
Okay.
about me on your stream. Well, why are you to deny that you talked about me for 24 hours of unedited content the past 2 months, 24 minutes per day, 7 days a week?
For the past 2 months.
Yes, 24 minutes a day.
I don't deny that, probably.
Okay,
because
so-
I
and
think
I'm
you are up until this very moment, you have presented yourself as someone who is actually playing a formative role in deplatforming pro-Palestinian content creators. That was the reason why I'm having this conversation with you. Also, now, I'm glad that you brought up the obsession.
Hold on. Do you think
because
this is
I have
reasonable?
some numbers as well.
Hold on, you're accusing me of being obsessed, Hasan. Is this reasonable, or is this obsessed behavior? At what point does it become obsessed behavior? At 30 minutes per day? Because I don't talk about you that much, not even close.
Ethan, I have some information as well to present to you. Okay?
Go ahead. And by the way, just take this in.
On
okay?
your
Last 60
Instagram
days.
stories alone, since January 1st, 2025. Hold on. Let me pull this up really quickly. Oh, you have on your Instagram stories, not including clips, since January 31st, you have mentioned me 110 times.
What? Based on what? I don't
On
believe
your
that.
Instagram
Wait,
story
hold on.
posts
From what period?
since
From what period of time?
January 31st.
Hold on. Since
No,
what
that's
date?
you, not fan channels. This
I'm
is
asking
your
you for what
Instagram.
date? What's your date? What's the date? I'm asking.
January 31st. Since
2023?
January 31st, on your Instagram stories, not
year?
including clips,
What
you
year?
have mentioned me.
What year?
Oh, 2025.
So you're saying I storied about you 100 times this year?
110.
That's an absolute fucking lie.
110
Show me the evidence of that.
times.
Show me your evidence. I've got pictures. What do you got? I talked about
This
you
is before
110
the
times.
clips.
Show me.
You have basically 1.2 posts per day about me, 9 stories per week.
Where are you? Show me the evidence.
We tabulated it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the dump. Oh, no. It's
Son,
shocking.
there-
It shocked you, it seems.
Sure, yeah, but this somehow this isn't a somehow. By the way, this doesn't surprise you. 66 videos about me in the
Ethan,
last 2 months.
110
They're not my channels. They
Instagram
operate
stories.
with your
When you
approval,
look at
under your
my-
direction.
when you
It's
look
part
at
of
me
your disinfo
referencing
campaign
you,
to
it's
avoid
almost
responsibility. It's so
always
obvious.
Within the context, it's almost always within the context of you literally fucking Haas tweet. When are we in agreement? Hasan
Hasan,
called me
you
stupid,
say-
and I said my video is bad.
You're
but
streaming
wait.
it, bro. You're streaming the hate videos. You're streaming. This is
What?
what you stream. I make
Even your
a
entire
story.
fucking stream is a hate video. What are you talking about? Your entire subreddit is a hate subreddit against me, which is fine. You want to do that, you can do that. That's precisely the reason why Reddit literally got back to you when you fucking cried to them about the snark channels and said, "What are you talking about? You basically have a harassment channel on Reddit. How are you complaining about this?" Not only that, but you also tried to sue anonymous Redditors to dox them,
what?
which you
When did I try
openly
to sue?
stated
Whoa,
you wanted to
whoa.
dox them
When
to
did I-
their families.
What?
You
This is on
sent
you're
frivolous lawsuits to Redditors, to anonymous Redditors, knowing full well that they would be scared into submission. You also posted about that on your Instagram stories as well.
Can anonymous Redditors defame you and harass you? Can anonymous posters who literally posted fake, they doctored posts, posted it on our subreddit saying I was banning people who are wishing a happy Ramadan. Okay, and that went viral.
What the deal was. I don't even know what the fuck that was about.
Well, it's an outright lie.
Did you not?
Hold on, dude. Let me respond.
You just get your lawyer to.
You need to stop because I'm
Did
gonna.
you not get your
I'm
lawyer to
answer.
try to bully, extort people that are anonymous Redditors?
Extort?
Sure,
Who's
they
extorting?
Said some shit about you.
Bro, let me
it's fucked up.
answer.
It's
Are you just
bullshit.
going to fucking gish? Okay, you want to make this interview unwatchable? Is that your goal?
Go on.
Yeah, kind of, right? So let me talk. These anonymous posters, okay, were showing pictures of the front of our office, organizing to meet there. They were, I know you haven't seen it, but it's true. They have documented, I have proof of them faking a post saying I was banning people wishing Ramadan that was posted to Snark, that went viral in your community. It was picked up by people in your community, leftist Twitter, TikTok, etc. It was an outright lie. It was defamation. And by the way, fuck yeah, those people should be held accountable.
One instance where I've talked about you, Ramadan, whatever the fuck, I will give
I'm
you $1 million.
I'm explaining the context, dude.
I didn't even
You're
know
accusing
about
me of something.
What are you talking about?
Bro, you're unreal. I'm explaining the context. How's that weird? You accuse me of something. I'm explaining why.
You're saying that I'm responsible for this when I have no fucking clue
what
I'm
you're
talking about. I only saw the litigation.
Is it ever, Hasan, is it ever okay to sue a random Redditor for a reason? Is there ever a good reason?
There could be.
Okay, very good. Well,
there could
they
be.
were fucking.
Do you think, okay, about this instance.
Well, great. It's not that crazy.
One of the Redditors that you sued. Okay.
I didn't sue anyone.
Not only did
First
you
of all,
sue for copyright infringement, but in the
Hasan,
process,
you are absolute. Hold on, you're lying, so you have to stop.
Them for
I have not
copyright
sued
infringement,
anybody.
Your lawyer demanded such insane things. Your only option to avoid litigation, you provide our office with all correspondence you've had with the moderators of H3 Snark. You provide our office with all correspondence you've had with other H3 Snark users. You provide our office with all correspondence you have had with Reddit.
Do you know why?
What does that mean? You provide our office with information regarding the identities of H3 Snark moderators. What does that mean? And then your lawyer says,
I'm trying to tell you. You just asked me, what does it mean, bro?
If you do not or cannot satisfy all 5 conditions, TEI will sue you for copyright infringement and misrepresentation.
Okay, so first of all,
does your lawyer think that you can just make people dance? If they got him on a copyright claim?
Do you want to have a conversation, or do you want to just talk uninterrupted? I mean, that's what you do every day. Let's have a conversation. Okay?
Sure.
All right. Do you know why we sent them that letter?
I don't.
Well, I mean, do you think that the context might be important?
Sure.
Okay, so then what the fuck are you doing?
I'm listening. I'm waiting for you to explain. Just like you didn't explain why you had 110 Instagram stories, by the way. Which was shocking to even you.
This person, by the way, these people were committing continual copyright infringement. They were posting clips with the stated intention, Hasan, of stealing views from us. This person, we took down the DMC post, and they erroneously.
How? By posting?
I'm sorry. Do you want me to respond? This person
stealing views from you. How? By posting on Reddit?
Yes. Duh. What the fuck are you talking about?
So you're admitting that you literally filed a fucking frivolous, frivolous copyright infringement lawsuit. Do
you know what a lawsuit?
Ethan Klein.
You know the difference between a letter and a lawsuit?
A frivolous lawsuit to try and stop people from criticizing you on Reddit. Do you know how many people criticize me on my Reddit? Do you know how many people criticize me on your Reddit?
Oh my God,
Imagine
this is so pointless.
if I was fucking suing them. How much would you talk about that?
You know what? I want to ask you something.
They're posting
paywalled content and saying, "Watch it here," so that you don't support Ethan. Okay?
Hold on now.
Spare me. Now let me ask you a question, because this is fucking dumb. Okay, you always say that whenever. First of all, let me give you a stat.
Mr. Fair Use.
You've watched You've watched 11 hate videos about me since this has started. Do you know how many I've watched about you on stream?
Your whole stream is a hate video.
Zero.
Bro.
I have
Bro.
had 0 people hold my hand through some obscene hate videos. You've watched 11 of them. Now let me ask you this: you see, whenever I make a response to these videos, for example, the content cop, you say you don't have time because you need to get to the news, which is something important. Then how the fuck do you have 19 hours straight, uninterrupted, to watch 11 hate videos, but you're not willing to show my response? Don't you think that's a bit cowardly?
No, I don't, because what's
Wow,
cowardly
well,
is ducking me for the past
Ducking
4
you? I'm
months.
sitting in front of you.
When you dropped the content nuke, I said, I'm willing to talk to you. And you knew it wasn't going to look
Oh
good.
my God, bro,
As
it's so
today has
stupid.
demonstrated.
I said
and that's
just
precisely
watch
why
the-
you tried to add additional
said watch
qualifications
the
to it. Like,
video.
oh, just watch my video. Just watch my video.
Yeah, that's super reasonable. Why the fuck would I have a conversation with you about a video you haven't seen?
Because it's me. I'm speaking. I know the clips.
It's not a
because-
biography. You understand
Ethan,
that,
can I
right?
ask a question
Do
for
you
you?
understand the difference between a biography and a video that's critical of your positions? Do you understand the difference?
Ethan,
Hold on. Do you understand? Because I'm not
what's
sure you
interesting
understand.
for all the
it's
people
not
who
a
are tuning in
biography,
right
Hasan.
now-
It's not about the points in your life about your mom and your dad and growing up with your family. I'm making specific arguments that I've articulated that you have not seen.
very
so how the
poorly,
fuck?
by the way.
How do you know that? You haven't watched it.
Because I'm talking to you.
Because
And
I've
you
watched
haven't-
11 hate
And you
videos.
haven't articulated a single good point yet. But also,
By the way,
I'll
I said
tell
I would
you why.
debate you if you watched it. It's very
I'll tell
simple.
you why. I'll tell you why.
You were dodging as fuck.
Because I responded to your context nuke before the nuke came out.
What you
There
can't
is
provide,
a video
by the
on
way.
my channel. There's a video on my channel that I urge all of you who are interested to go and watch. It is sitting at like what, 600,000 views? Not that many people watch it as opposed to the content nuke, okay? In that video, you will notice that months prior to Ethan's context puke, months prior to that, I addressed every single claim he made in his
You didn't
video.
watch the video.
Do
How
I
do you
have
know
the
that?
capacity to
You didn't
do
watch the
I have the
video.
capacity to see the future?
So where'd you get the list? Do someone send you a list of all my points?
How? How did
Why
I
not just
answer
watch
all
the
of his
video
questions?
then? Why not just watch the video?
Wait,
it seems
did I get a
cowardly. You're
list
like,
of all
I
your
don't want to
points?
watch the video.
Did I
Just
get
send
a
me a
list of all your
list
points,
of all the
Ethan?
things. So
Ethan?
I can't get,
Ethan?
I don't want to get my feelings hurt. And
Ethan,
maybe
you consider
he's making a
yourself-
good point.
You have, in the cringiest
Why not
ways
watch the
possible,
video?
considered yourself to be Kendrick Lamar in this beef, this one-sided beef that you created initially, that I didn't
That's
respond
right.
to until you try to deplatform me and people who are pro-Palestine. Okay. So
cannot-
let me
by the
explain
way,
to you something.
Being
Why did I
pro-Palestine
have-
means you are
why did I have
infallible
all
and can
the
never be
information?
criticized. That's awesome.
Why
logic.
did I have
You
all
want
the
to talk about the
information that I
content
actually
nuke, Hasan?
responded to?
Hasan, you want to talk about the content nuke? Can you name one clip that was out of context? You call it the context puke. Name one clip that was taken out of context.
Watch
Go
my
ahead.
video and you'll find out.
Name one.
Watch my video.
Go ahead. It's about
No,
me.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'll show you. Okay. So one of the best examples that we were initially going to get to, and then we went on a long, drawn-out sequence over sexual
out of
assaults, is
context?
that one of the clips that you used, one of the clips that you used in your context nuke was the claim that I deny rapes happen. It was from
I showed evidence.
It was from
That wasn't out of context.
a-
That was an opinion.
at the time, that thing that you clipped were me being like, rapes happening do not change the dynamic for me, which was about.
We talked about this, bro. Can we please
hold
talk
on,
about
hold on.
something else? It's exhausting.
That argument, quite literally, was me.
Why are we going over this again,
defending the
dude?
likelihood of rapes happening, Ethan.
cares?
Do you
I
feel
wanna
like
talk
that was
about
an
something
appropriate
else.
way to show that I was a rape
It wasn't out
denier?
of context, bro. It literally wasn't out of context. What else do you have?
Do you
I
feel
showed,
like? Wait, what do you mean? You
I
can't just
showed
say
you-
that wasn't out of context. That is the
How
context.
was it out of context? How was it out of context?
Because that was an argument that I was having with a chatter who was saying, why don't you deny that rapes have happened? And I was saying, there is a likelihood
What about all
that
the
they
other ones?
might have happened because rapes
What about
are
all the other
actually-
ones?
Rapes are
about all
actually
the other ones?
commonplace. Sexual assault is commonplace in conflicts
all the
in
other
general.
clips?
So without evidence, I am not going to immediately dismiss these claims.
What? Okay, so you
Do
so
you
here
feel like that was sufficient to show that I was actually that I was actually at that moment saying like,
I think
oh,
I showed
no.
sufficient evidence, yes. But the video's an hour and 40 minutes long. It's very
so-
long.
oh,
That's
so you
one
do recognize
example.
that that
That's
was out
one
of
small.
context.
What else is out of context? Go on.
Okay, great. All right, let me give you the master list. Okay, if you want to watch the context of it, we can also go through these videos as well. Or you can just take my word for it. Up to you. What do you want to do? You want to go through the videos one by one? or
Give
do you
me
wanna...
give me examples that was out of context.
Okay. One of the other things that you've consistently done, aside from also the dude that you claimed was my fan, who now you admit wasn't my fan, that you falsely said was my fan.
Criminy. Jiminy fucking cricket.
Okay. Was the usage of the term inbred. I use inbred as a wait. What? What is going
Because
on?
I have that because I knew you were going to do this, and I have the clip pulled. Let's play it.
Okay, play
and then
it.
you can
The Jewish KKK brigades out there, just a bunch of fucking inbred hicks. Imagine the most inbred white supremacist guy you can imagine, okay? Every week there was another fucking psychopathic settler, inbred fucking douchebag. Oh, these inbred fucking douchebags in the background, dude. A nation entirely comprised of messianic, inbred,
Pause it for a second.
ultra-orthodox psychopaths that these inbred don't understand. Educated, inbred, fundamentalist hicks.
Calling us in the middle of campus, calling us inbred, that we have no culture. One of them grabbed my friend's Israeli flag in the middle of campus, carried it to a mob by the gate that were communicating with the angry mobs outside of campus.
That's awesome.
Untrained, inbred asses shipped into southern Lebanon, telling us that we are all inbred and that we have no culture.
You want to...
You got to watch this part too.
Inbred, 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 inbred,
I wanna pause so bad.
inbred, 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 inbred.
What is that?
The clips that... And that's not necessarily the algorithm.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead and defend your continual use of the word inbred to describe Jewish people. Go on.
Wait, do you think I'm describing all Jewish people as inbred? Is that what your assessment is here?
Microaggressions, my friend. We're pretending they don't exist. Dude,
come on.
You continually refer to Jewish people
You are
as
such
inbred.
a pussy. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. Of course
I mean,
I'm
talk
calling
about-
the fucking Kahanis Jewish supremacist settlers inbred. Why is it that you tried to defend the actual Kahanis settlers that were destroying humanitarian aid when I was calling them fucking inbred? You were like, oh, why? They're just nice young Jewish boys, you said, when describing that fucking video. You looked at
So
a
again,
video, you looked
again,
at a video.
Hassan, you have a chronic problem with the truth. Here's what you're talking about.
Douchebags in the
Like these
background,
are just
dude.
dudes. By the way, this is
He's
the
playing the
difference
same
between me
clip
and
again.
Hassan. When I get criticized, I pull it up and I watch the fucking criticism. Hassan opens Comrade KC tweets and snark posts and reads their interpretation of my video. Talk about being a pussy. You need people to hold your hands.
Fucking be real here.
Yeah, I'm so scared of you. That's why I wanted to debate you.
And this is an ongoing like joke with this community. These are just fucking benign dudes. Just I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It looks like they're doing charity or something. It looks like they've got water or boxes or something, like they're helping. And he's going, oh, look at these inbred fucks. It's like, bro, who are you? What are you? By the way, even if they're doing whatever bad, you're still calling Jewish people inbred repeatedly. You understand that, right? Rubs
They're
off on
fucking
people.
Nazis, Ethan.
It doesn't
What's
make
wrong
it
with
any
you?
less anti-
They're participating
You're
single-handedly in a
referring
genocide.
continually to Jewish people as inbred, bro.
No, I call
you don't think
all
that can
fucking-
affect people?
I call all racist right-wing reactionaries inbred. It's one of the fucking terms that I can use that isn't like immediately slammed.
How about one that doesn't feed into like an
racially
anti-Semitic
insensitive?
trope? Why did you laugh when that guy said that people were calling them inbred on campus? Why was that funny?
What do you mean? Because it's a fucking cry-bully claiming that he was a victim of
Cry-bully?
harassment.
He was walking through campus.
What?
He was walking through campus. How is he a cry-bully?
No, he's a cry-bully for going on Fox to be like, I was under attack. I was victimized once again.
What was the bully aspect?
What do you mean? What is
To
the
be a
bully
cry-bully,
aspect?
there needs to
Ethan,
be a bully
have you-
aspect. Where's
have
the
you
bully
fucking-
aspect?
Have you literally left your goddamn Bel Air mansion for a second
God,
and
bro.
looked at the news? Do you know what's going on? an entire year of genocide side by side with people claiming that Jews are being victimized
Call
on
them
college
fascists.
campuses
Call
has
them
now led
pieces of
to
shit.
the
Call them
fucking
terrible
Gestapo
people. Your
literally
insistence
packing
on
up
calling
pro-Palestinian
Jewish
student
people inbred
activists.
is
You
a
don't think that those fucking
conscious
dipshits
choice
played a role in
in
that on
spreading
Fox News of all places?
straight up
What the fuck is
anti-Semitism.
wrong with you? Of course you're not pro-Palestine. This is the reason why nobody thinks you're pro-Palestine, okay? Because you do this dumb shit. Because you can't fucking see the world outside of how you feel slighted by.
So you're saying people think I'm pro-Palestine because I don't like your repeated use of the word inbred against Jews?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you're running defense for Kahanists who are literally
No, I'm not defending them.
Nazis.
I'm attacking you.
No,
How is me saying why you
you are fucking crying about me calling Nazis inbred in the process of them destroying
All the
humanitarian
clips?
aid, going into Gaza, and then
All
you're
the
going,
clips?
they look like kind boys.
Yeah, I
they
took it
look
back
like
immediately.
nice boys that were just holding the humanitarian aid. How do you assume that people won't
I
see that
literally
and go,
took
what
it
the
back
fuck is
immediately.
wrong with you?
I admit I was wrong and took it back immediately when I learned the context. Do you know
Oh my
how that
God,
works?
there's a lot more.
Have
Do
you
you want to
ever
keep going? Piece by
have you
piece?
ever? No, it's fucking boring.
Oh,
I
now it's boring.
Because
Oh.
because you're a
Well,
chronic
this
liar.
is-
I went back.
Maybe I wasn't afraid of the context nuke, okay?
I
Maybe I
went
wasn't
back.
afraid of it, but I was
See, this-
worried that
you-
you were
this-
going to fucking clip shit out of context and keep chirping to your audience and lie to
This
them.
con-
And now you can't lie to them. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, half of the fucking shit that we've talked about,
All
you've
right,
backtracked
here, let's do
on.
this.
Maybe that's the reason why people think you're fucking pro-Israel at a time when you say that they're doing a genocide.
You said that the Houthi Luffy was not a pirate.
He's not.
Or I'm sorry, not Houthi affiliated.
He's not, but even if he was, I wouldn't care. I hope you understand that. I do
'Cause
not
that's rewriting
think,
history.
I'm going to say this very clearly.
No,
to
it's
you.
not that you
I'm gonna
cared,
say
it's
this
that you
very clearly
fucking
to you
glazed them
right
up.
now, 10 toes down. Are you ready for this?
Go
I
ahead.
believe what the Houthis are doing in terms of stopping Israel doing a genocide to implement a blockade on the Red Sea is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down. They are on the morally right side. Don't you also think they're on the morally right side, Ethan?
What have they
You're
done?
supposed to,
That's-
you're
hold on.
saying that it's a genocide. What
What
the
have they
fuck are
done?
they supposed to do?
They hijacked a boat that had nothing to do with Israel.
That's
like
not
fucking
true.
bravo.
That's not true.
Really? What was that? What did it have to do with Israel?
It was literally owned by an Israeli through the
It was
fucking
partially
islands.
owned. Is a big multi-conglomerate company that was partially owned by an Israeli.
Yes. And
It was bound for fucking for
doesn't
Turkey
matter.
from
What do you mean?
India.
What do you
There
think
was-
BDS
they
is,
kidnapped
dude? What do you
five
think BDS stands
totally
for?
unrelated Filipino
You also
fucking
said it
prisoners
wasn't
and
owned by an
kept
Israeli,
them
by the way,
prisoners
in
for
your
a
fucking
year.
video. Are you going to take that back too now? Now you admit that you were wrong on that part too?
Take what back?
Wow, what
I
are we
didn't hear
on?
you.
4? 5? How many points have you actually backtracked on?
I don't know
so far?
what I don't know what you're accusing me of. What was I wrong about?
You said in your video that it had nothing to do with Israel. You claimed that it wasn't owned by an Israeli
Partially owned by an
conglomerate.
Israeli guy?
You were wrong.
Partially owned by an Israeli guy? It's British owned. It's owned
It
by a
is an
British
Israeli
company.
conglomerate
It's
that
owned by
owns
a
the
British
fucking
company.
ship.
So it's owned by a
You literally
British
claimed
company.
that it was owned by Isle of Man. It was an Isle of Man ship. Like you
It
think
is.
all of these ships mysteriously are just owned by that, and it's not a fucking easy flag to
How
get.
much of this? How much of this? So, if this Jewish or this Israeli guy,
0.5.
then if this Israeli guy, how much does he need to own of this business that owns this boat to justify? Is it 0.1? Is it 0.2? Is it 5%? How
I
much?
don't know, and I
Anything.
don't care because I think that even if they
Oh, you should.
even if they got some of the ships wrong, I still think they're on the right side. Don't you?
I mean, like I
I'm
agree
not
with
even
their.
conceding on that front, by the way, because I do think that once again that was owned by an Israeli conglomerate, and you
No, it
lied on your
wasn't.
fucking
That's
video.
an outright lie. You're lying. It's not owned by an Israeli conglomerate. You're fucking lying. That's an outright pathetic lie.
You said
And
it
you're
was
basically
an Isle
running
of
defense
Man.
for a
You
terrorist
said the flag
organization.
was on
now,
Isle
do
of
I
Man.
now do I defend what they do? I think what they're doing, their message is good. Their method is terrible.
Oh, you wait, dude. Let's ring up the fucking Al Houthi family real quick. Tell us how you would stop a genocide when you're the poorest country
Well,
on
not
the fucking
hijacking an
planet
unaffiliated
that
boat and
withstood-
kidnapping 15 fucking nationals and holding them for a year. How is that helping
Yeah,
anyone?
that's another thing that you actually got wrong, by the way, that even fucking Willie Sloptube called you out on. Those people by the time you had released your context puke, those people had been released. What would you do, Ethan?
I remember.
What would you do?
What did I said they were prisoners for a year. I know they were released. It literally happened like the day I was finishing the video.
It's just you couldn't.
They were
put
held.
it in there,
Were they held
you know?
prisoner for a year? Were they held prisoner for a year? Were they held prisoner for a year?
Yeah,
were they
they
held
were.
prisoner for a year?
Yeah, they were. They were held
That's
hostage.
what I said. Thank you.
Yeah, they were held hostage for sure.
So how's that help Israel taking a bunch of Filipino fucking unaffiliated
do you understand
sailors
the concept
hostage
of
for a year?
deterrence?
Well, how's that deter Israel kidnapping fucking?
Do you understand the concept of
foreign
deterrence?
sailors?
Yes.
How is that a
stopping-
deterrence?
It is a show of force to stop other, successfully, mind you, to stop other commercial
Really?
shipping from going through. They literally bankrupted an entire Israeli port. I'd say that's numbers on the fucking board, baby. And like I said, 10 toes down, support that initiative. Because if you believe it's a genocide, what the fuck are they supposed to do? Should they allow their coastline to continue having commerce as though nothing is going on up there in Palestine, where Israel is doing a genocide in Palestine? How do you think the Yemeni population should have responded to the Israeli genocide? Should they have sat back and just let it happen?
Yemeni is not Houthi, by
and
the
also,
way.
they can't say, obviously, they fucking can't say from the river to the sea, Palestine, because that scares you, Ethan. So obviously they can't do that either. So what
Scares-
how can
I mean,
these
it doesn't-
people-
it's what
how
Norman
can people
Finkelstein
be
said.
pro-Palestine in a way that you think is appropriate?
Were your example is hijacking an unaffiliated ship and kidnapping
It's not
15 sailors?
It's not unaffiliated, but even if it was unaffiliated,
is
as I've said
totally.
already, if it was unaffiliated, that wasn't unaffiliated. You lied about that, and
was.
you recognize that you lied about that for the record. But if it was,
people
if
can
it
look into it.
wasn't, even if it was,
Why did they kidnap? They didn't need to
unaffiliated-
kidnap random people. That's like terrorist shit. Why are they kidnapping random unaffiliated sailors?
No,
How are you
Ethan,
defending that?
You know what's terrorist?
You're defending
shit?
them kidnapping
You know what's
these
terrorist shit, Ethan?
unrelated
You know what's
foreign
terrorist shit?
sailors?
Israel fucking blowing up a humanitarian aid flotilla.
When did I defend that?
1,002. No, I'm not saying you're defending that. I'm just explaining to you what actual terrorism looks like.
Well, you are
Israel,
defending
as
terrorism,
of this
though.
conversation taking place,
And you've done
Israel
it many
last
times
night
during this
literally
conversation.
drone striked a fucking humanitarian aid ship that was headed for Gaza off the coastline of Malta. That's real fucking terrorism. What the Houthis are doing, on the other hand, is resistance. And it's not
So
only
do you-
moral, but
do you
it's just.
think-
And
Very
if-
good. You're
if-
right. You're
if
so
justice
righteous.
is served,
Do you think that the Filipino hostages who were held there for a year agree that that was an awesome, that was an awesome
probably
act
not.
of resistance?
probably not. Can you explain to me what you would do? What would you do?
I think, well, first of all, I think that like there's something to be said for stopping the cargo in that strait, but they're doing it insanely fucking stupid. They're stopping unaffiliated ships and they're kidnapping unaffiliated people. How is that good?
Damn, dude.
They're doing
it's not
it
an
bad.
unaffiliated ship, by the way. But even then,
You won't
entire
explain
point
how
is
it's
to stop
affiliated. You said it's
commerce. The
owned by
entire
an
point
Israeli
is to
conglomerate.
make-
That is an outright lie. Hold on, you're doing disinformation right now. It was
Wait,
not
what?
owned by an Israeli conglomerate. You said that. Yes, there's a lie. Galaxy Leader is a vehicle carrier that was owned by a British company, operated by a company connected. It was connected. It wasn't even, he didn't even own it. It was connected to an Israeli businessman.
Mm-hmm.
It was co-owned by a business that this Israeli guy was
Yeah,
involved
co-owned
in.
by Abraham Ongar.
So what? You know his name.
What do you mean? It's co-owned by an Israeli. What are we talking about?
No, it's co-owned by a company that has an Israeli dude affiliated with it.
Well, you asked me how it's connected. I'm
It's
telling you how
owned
it's
by a
connected.
British company.
You asked me how it's connected. I'm telling you how it's connected.
Well,
and
you're
now
lying
you don't
about
like
how
that
it's connected.
connection.
No, you're lying. That's what I don't
What
like.
I'm not lying. The ship info
said-
is readily available,
Okay,
Ethan.
yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter anyway. The problem for me, really,
it doesn't matter. Okay, that's
Well, so-
point
but the
number 5
larger
that you
pro-
also presented falsely on your
Very good.
context puke.
The problem is more
Someone's gotta
the
be keeping
kidnapped
tally
sailors. I just don't understand you can justify kidnapping a bunch of unaffiliated sailers.
I don't, Ethan.
You are. You
Ethan,
you go. Have you ever heard of deterrent?
Yeah, walk with me through this carefully.
Yeah,
I
please,
asked you
please
what
explain to
you
me
would
how it's
do,
justifiable
Ethan.
to
What would
kidnap
you
15
do?
sailors.
Ethan, what would you do? You have
ahead.
you have a better way to do it. I think we're gonna figure it out.
Well, like I said, you can do it without kidnapping unaffiliated.
During the
unaffiliated,
Holocaust,
holding them for a year.
there were militancy, resistance, okay, that cut off supply lines, okay? Supply lines for the Nazis, or even sometimes supply lines that actually impacted the civilians, okay? Impact the civilians. Do you feel like that kind of resistance was unwarranted?
It's completely irrelevant. Why did they hold them for a year?
I don't know.
Okay, because they're terrorists.
What? Because they're terrorists.
Oh, what? Yeah, they're terrorists. They kidnap innocent civilians.
Are they? So the people
Filipino
that
guys?
the people that are resisting against the Israeli genocide that you call
What
a
do those
genocide
sailors have to do with
are
that?
actually terrorists because you don't agree with their
Kidnapping innocents?
fucking methods. But you have no way. You have
Kidnapping
no alternative.
innocents.
You have no alternative. You call
That's
it a
not
genocide.
true. I
They're
said just
supposed
don't
to sit
kidnap
around.
innocent
Nothing
people.
else.
It's easy. Just don't kidnap innocent people. They could have done that, right? They could have taken the boat.
Ethan.
They could have commandeered the boat and not kidnap
Ethan,
people, right?
Damn.
Oh,
Okay,
is that possible?
Fair. Do you think that that warrants the standard of saying that the one of the only groups that is doing militancy against and resisting against Israel's genocide, which they stopped, by the way, they literally stopped when Israel actually followed through on a ceasefire. If they were just, erroneously and randomly fucking trying to claim ships because they're pirates, they want to live the pirate life, then obviously they wouldn't have stopped doing that, don't you think? And they only started their blockade after Israel started starving Gaza again, and then also
That's
turned
great.
around.
What does that have to do with innocent sailors?
Ethan, I don't think you want to go down this route.
I'm
Kidnapping
ready. What do you
innocent people
mean?
is terrorism. Is Israel terrorist? Is the IDF terrorist?
I mean, you could
Is
characterize
the
it that
IDF
way.
terrorist?
I mean, it's an army, so it's a different thing. It's
Why is it a different thing? You think the Ansar Allah movement doesn't have a
Houthis-
standing army? They have an army.
The Houthis are to like a hostile takeover of like a portion of Yemen. They're at odds with the government. It's different.
Wait,
they also own slaves, by the way.
We're going to talk about the Ansar Allah movement's
but
history.
I'll say, yeah, Israel, the
hold
IDF
on.
is terrorist. Yes,
Hold
the
on.
IDF is terrorism.
Hold on. Talk to me about how the Ansar Allah movement actually came to power without getting any notes from your Discord or anything like that. Explain to me the process in which Ansar Allah actually came to power. What?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't
do not know.
It's
Yeah,
really
you should try
interesting
saying
because
that
in your
sometimes.
video you also used a lot of Saudi outlets to be like, these guys
Oh
are actually
my
doing
God,
slavery.
bro.
And it
Give
turned
me
out
one.
that actually the
Give me the Saudi
videos
outlets.
that you used did not even suggest that it was Ansar Allah that was doing slavery in the fucking poorest country on the planet. Okay?
The
Literally
Houthis
the poorest
have
country
slaves.
on the planet.
That's not
they
even
weren't the ones who were doing the
contested.
slavery according to your own fucking video, but you still used it. And you used
Houthis have
Saudi
slaves,
propaganda
undisputed.
papers that at a time when Saudi
I just
Arabia
don't
was
understand why
doing
you're
a
defending
fucking
the
genocide.
Houthis for having slaves and kidnapping innocents. It's just so unnecessary.
What are you talking about,
Just
dude?
acknowledge that that they do terrible
Saudi-backed
shit.
government was the one that was actually doing slavery.
No, well, if they did, then the Houthis also have slaves. That's just a statement.
No,
of
the
fact.
Houthis don't have shit. Okay, it's
They don't have shit. They don't have slaves. They don't even have slaves. They don't even have food. Like, what are you talking about?
That's
They have
not the point I'm making. They are the poorest country on the planet that just came out of a man-made
Yeah, and how's that
famine backed
blockade, by the way,
Saudi
helping the
Arabia
country?
and the
How is
UAE.
the blockade
Why
helping the
did you
famine in
use-
Yemen? How's the blockade helping the famine in Yemen?
There is, as far as I understand, there's no longer a famine in Yemen. I'm talking about before, because you talked about how you were a regional expert.
What is
You
blockading
brought
it
up
doing for the poorest
Ansar
country on
Allah,
earth?
and their violent takeover of Yemen. So I was like trying to figure out what you know about this. Maybe you know something that I don't know. So I was trying to pick your brain a little bit
Well,
on
so
this
explain
issue,
to
but
me why it
seems like you don't know
matters.
shit.
Sure, I don't know about this specific thing. Tell me why it matters.
Why it matters? What, their blockade?
Yeah,
Oh,
clearly.
their blockade is awesome.
No, why it matters? How they came to power?
Oh, because you used Saudi newspapers in the time when Saudi Arabia, according to Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, all fucking NGOs, was doing a Western-backed blockade that was killing hundreds of thousands of people, and the headlines that you used in your context puke were from Al Arabiya and numerous other outlets that had their own personal investment in vilifying the Ansar Allah movement. Having said that, of course, I also think that there are plenty to criticize about the Ansar Allah movement. I don't agree with everything that they're fucking doing, as I've said time and time again, like their banner, right? Their banner says
justified
"Curse the Jews,"
kidnapping
which
civilians.
you also presented in your video. Except, remember when you
Listen-
talked about Norm Finkelstein? And how Norm Finkelstein doesn't agree with From the River to the Sea, Palestine
You
will be
agree
free.
with kidnapping civilians.
Can we play the clip of Norm Finkelstein talking about the curse the Jews and what he thinks about that? Let's do that. Let's pull up the clip of Norm Finkelstein's thoughts on
How is that
Houthis'
relevant?
actions and the
How is that
blockade
relevant?
against the Israelis. You
How is
used him
that
as a
relevant?
primary source earlier because you thought,
Well,
he's a
he's-
reputable guy, which I think I agree.
He said something that I've said that I've been criticized for. What does that have to
Dan,
do
can
with
you play
every
this
other
clip?
take he's taken? It
Can you
doesn't
play
mean
this
that I
clip?
support that like we're aligned with every other take in the world.
Dan, can you play this clip real quick? Sorry, this is 50 seconds.
I don't.
50
It's irrelevant.
I passed it along.
It's totally
What
irrelevant.
do you mean it's irrelevant?
Because who gives a fuck what he said about it?
Wait, what do you mean? You
wanna
his,
talk about-
you
here,
used
listen,
his perspective on From the River to the Sea to imply that he agrees with you. I want to
He
see if you
does.
agree with him on this. Just play
Do
it.
you? All right, I'll play it.
Thank you.
So here, I'm going to play it, okay? And then when this is done, let's move on to something I know we both want to talk about. You claimed, I'm going to play it. I just want to set this up. You claimed that the worst thing I said in the context, puke, is that I wrongfully portrayed Jewish people fleeing from their countries. And I denied the Nakba somehow, which is crazy. So let's talk about that after this clip.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
And
And by the way,
you're not going to scare us. You're not going to.
I'll just say up front, we can end on that point.
Oh, I can keep going all day if you
I'm
want
sure
to.
you can. Yeah, I know. I know you go to bed tonight in a cool race car bed, but I have family.
Okay, no,
kids.
that's fine. Why are you thinking about what my bedroom looks like? It's kind of weird, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. You fucking badass fucking sports car bed. It's a me.
Very odd.
Here it is.
As long as the people in Gaza are subjected to a genocide, we won't stop. Do you know all the praise that's given to the Danish government because it helped evacuate Jews during World War II? But is there a case where a totally distant people did that for the people of Gaza? If I were to give a Nobel Peace Prize, I would divide it between three. South African delegation. Number two, those doctors who volunteered to go to Gaza, the Doctors Without Borders and others. One doctor, he was Palestinian. Why don't you leave? Because he had the option. He was able to go. He said, I didn't go to medical school for 30 years to abandon my people. He was killed. And the third, it's the Houthis. If genocide is the crime of crimes, the Houthis are the hero of heroes.
Yeah, I mean, the first two examples, I definitely agree. I think it's psychotic to give the Houthis a peace prize. That's,
Why?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Why?
Because what the fuck have they done for peace other than kidnap innocent civilians? What have they
the
done
fuck
for
are you
their own
talking about?
populace? This
They
is,
have
as you said,
bankrupted
the
an
poorest
Israeli
country
port
on
that
earth.
is a direct
What are they doing
material-
for peace?
The Houthis have created
What does this have to do with
direct
the river to the sea?
material consequences for Israel as it has implemented a genocide.
All right, let's give them a peace prize. Whatever, I don't care.
I
Let's
think
give them a
they
peace
deserve
prize.
it.
Yes, absolutely, without a doubt.
Wait, also, it's still skipping
Don't
back to me.
ask the unaffiliated prisoners who were held for a year, though. if
No,
they do.
I don't. I think you're missing the broader point here. You're missing
think you
the
just-
forest for
All
the
right,
trees. Here, I'll
right,
give you a
of
great
course.
example of this, by the way, because you spent a lot of time being like, the Houthis are bad. They're homophobic. I'm like, I'm sure they are. Holy
Homophobic?
shit. Also, Dan, it keeps switching back to me on my end. Sorry.
Let's
Okay,
talk about
so-
the
so
issue
wait,
of
hold
the
on, hold on.
Nakba and
Okay,
stuff.
Hold on. I know you keep saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter. This is boring." Whenever you come across a point
No,
that
it's
you have to
irrelevant,
admit is
bro,
wrong,
and you
But
just talk and talk and
listen
talk.
to
It
me.
makes the
You
video
said
unwatchable.
You said the Houthis are. The Houthis are barbaric. They're homophobic. They hate women.
Homophobic?
All this shit, right? And I'm sure a lot of that is correct. Of course it is. It is the fucking poorest nation on the planet, and all it is known
about bigotry
is
of low
fucking death
expectations.
and destruction. This doesn't justify having that sort of opinion, of course, but it certainly understands, don't you think? Certainly is part of the point, part of the problem. And the best possible way to probably get them to have a civil rights movement to give gays rights would probably be to stop fucking bombing them, as
that
Joe
wasn't my
Biden did,
chief
and as
criticism.
Donald Trump has done.
Yeah, that wasn't my chief criticism. Man, again, my criticism is that they are kidnapping civilians.
Yeah, I know. You don't like their methods, but you have no alternative method. Now,
I said just do it without kidnapping
okay,
civilians,
let's
dude. It's
get
not
back to the
rocket science.
IDF. You said the IDF is maybe not a terror organization, but the IDF is a terror organization.
I didn't say that.
through and
Wrong.
through.
Wrong. Again, a liar.
So you think the IDF is a terror organization?
I said yes.
You believe the IDF is a terror?
I think it would be. I think it's fair to characterize them that way.
Okay. Your wife was in the IDF.
Yeah.
Do you believe your wife is a terrorist?
Of course not.
You have considered a 19-year-old Yemeni TikToker who is not even a part of the Al-Houthi family with no Houthi affiliation, but simply a person that says he stands with the Houthis, and I do too, a terrorist over and over again because he has a gun in the second highest gun ownership
That's not why.
density per capita. And because he responded to a fucking Instagram comment saying he's a soldier, a dude who doesn't even speak English, you kept claiming that he was a terrorist over and over again. His name is Rashid al-Haddad. He is not even a fucking Zaidi Shia. He's not even a part of the Houthi family. Because if he was a part of the Houthi family, his last name would be al-Houthi, not al-Haddad. Okay? This person you have, this person, you looked at a 19-year-old fucking teenager who's a TikToker
terrorist
in the poorest country on the planet who's only known death and destruction and spent countless fucking hours looking through whatever his social media was to be like, this guy is bad. This guy is fucked up.
Let's look at it.
Of course he's fucked up. He lives in goddamn Yemen. Are you stupid?
Do you know what the bigotry of low expectations is?
You dumbass.
Do you know what the bigotry of low expectations is? You're saying because he's poor, he hates Jewish people? Let's watch.
No, it's not because he's poor that he hates Jewish people. It's because he lives in fucking Yemen. And in that part of the world, the only thing that people see is the dangerous conflation of Zionism and Judaism. Because the fighter jets that blow up their fucking schools have a Star of David next to them. And when the Palestinians are kidnapped, when they're fucking forced to go through military trial detention, they get fucking Stars of David carved on their heads. Israel is the one that dangerously and falsely claims to be the nation state of Jews. Israel is the one that makes everybody think that this action, all of the action, the genocide that you called a genocide is actually being done at the behest of Jews. So of course, for everyone in that side
Israel
of the fucking
doesn't claim
world,
they're doing it
when they
on
say
behest
Jew,
of Jews.
it's interchangeable with Israel. Many of these people, including Refat
Do you think he's like Anne Frank?
What?
Do you think he's like Anne Frank?
Oh, of course, absolutely. He has withstood genocide. He has withstood genocide by the Saudi government.
Is that the only?
Of course I do. I think that talking to, but my point that I was fucking presenting. Anne Frank is
famous for being a pacifist and seeing the good in people despite a fucking Holocaust that took every member of her family but her dad. That's why she's inspiring. This guy went on Twitter and said, "Fuck Jewish people." Would you think Anne Frank
would be less inspiring if she somehow was able to get out of the?
If she was like, "I want to kill Germans and hang them,"
arms against the Nazis, would you say that Anne Frank is bad for that? Say Anne Frank is bad for that, Ethan.
For something that didn't happen?
Would be bad if she took up arms against the violent Nazi occupation. Say it.
It wouldn't be the same, for sure.
Oh, it wouldn't be the same. Why wouldn't it be?
She's famous for being a pacifist and seeing the good in people despite living through a Holocaust. You understand that? That's not what. Let me show you. Let me show you.
Do you think that if Anne Frank
Israel isn't?
Do you think that if Anne Frank took up arms against the Nazi occupation, you would call
Israel
her
isn't
a bad
occupying
person?
Yemen anyway?
What?
Israel's not occupying Yemen.
Israel isn't. But for every single country in this region, American imperialism is all they have known.
You say the Saudis, you said this, why don't they say death to Saudi Arabia on their flag? Why is it Jews? Why
because
is
they're
it damn
directly
the Jews?
fighting Saudi Arabia. What are you
but
talking
I thought,
about?
oh, you see the Star of David, of course they hate Jews. What about why does their flag say death to fucking Israel and damn the Jews?
Their flag says death to America, death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews, which
Damn
I
the
have
Jews,
said time
curse
and time
upon the
again
Jews.
is kind of gauche, not acceptable, not appropriate
That's
by
nice.
Western standards. But if you listen to Norm
does it
has
say
a
Saudi
clip on
Arabia?
that too. Norm has a clip on that too. Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it?
No, let me show you this
Do you
because
want to
you've
hear
been going
Norm
on and on.
Finkelstein explain that?
No, I want to show you this, okay? You've been talking and talking and talking and talking. Very good. Let's watch this.
Do you condemn
He
the
said-
Warsaw Ghetto Uprising,
Hasan,
Ethan?
you gotta stop.
Do you condemn the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising?
I'm gonna play this video, okay? He says, ready for maybe I read it.
Sacrifice and eager for martyrdom. Maybe he's talking about football. Here he is singing a song with the words, "Do you threaten us with what we are waiting for, son of a Jew?" Meaning of Houthi is a title, and it's not something to fear, but for the Jews. They are very afraid of this title. The execution we will carry out on all Zionists, with the lovely depiction of a man impaled through his asshole and out of his mouth with a pike, or how Hasan likes to say it, a pike for a cut.
Pause it.
Okay, why would he
Are you done?
retweet this article called
No.
Houthis use social media to boost global prominence and support?
Okay.
Israel falls. Wait for the new operation in Tel Aviv, the Jaffa drone, which no Israeli defense can stop. The ships we bombed and sank. I know the Red Arrow is supposed to be a cool military Hamas thing. This is a butt plug. Just saying. To every Zionist, I will put this into your stomach. And let me state the obvious. Jew and Zionist is clearly interchangeable to this guy. Okay,
It
but
is.
hating Jews doesn't make you a Houthi. Are you a soldier? Yes. That seems pretty definitive.
Why did he say yes to "Are you a soldier"?
Bro, he doesn't even fucking speak English. You're like, oh, he's a soldier.
Oh.
Wait, even if he is, I'm going to ask you a question very clearly and very deliberately. If Anne Frank
Just like
posted-
Anne Frank,
if
by
Anne
the
Frank if we had the internet during the time of the Holocaust and Anne Frank posted about this is what we're going to do to the Nazis, would your analysis
it
of
would
Anne Frank
change.
change
Yes,
even
of
a little bit,
course.
even an iota?
Yes, of course it would, because she's famous for being a pacifist, not tweeting out death to all Zionists. She's famous for seeing the good in people, not fucking
Okay, well,
tweeting
you and I
out
have
that
a
we want to nuke
disagreement on that
Israel. What do you
one, because
mean?
I would not give a fuck. I would be loud and proud going, hey, that's what she said. That's what we're going to do to the Nazis. Fuck yeah, girl.
So
Get it.
after watching that compilation, you still agree that he's just like Anne Frank?
Did you not hear what I asked you?
I'm just summarizing.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Anne Frank died before she could resist. But if she did, I would never hold
She
that
was
against
fucking
her.
killed in a concentration camp, you
Exactly.
psychopath.
But if she did,
She was
but if she
exterminated with
did,
her whole
I would
fucking
never hold
family.
that
Her
against
dad's
her.
the
Would
only one that
you?
survived and
But you
recovered
wouldn't
her
hold that
journal. Are you
against her
fucking
either,
mad?
Ethan, right? Would you hold that against her? Would you hold that against Anne Frank?
I wouldn't
if
hold it
she-
against her, but she wouldn't be the same historical figure that said, despite my family being killed in concentration camp and everyone being murdered, I'm still a pacifist that sees the good in people. What the fuck what's so confusing about that? Not kill Zionists, not nuke Israel, not a pike through Zionist assholes.
I can't believe we're once again discussing the posts of a dude in Yemen who is
You really
19
like to
fucking
do
years
that.
old. Okay.
Well, you said he's not a Houthi. I mean, you went on and on and on and on about how he's just some random fucking innocent kid that you platformed
He is.
and
He
glazed the fuck
absolutely
up,
is.
by
And
the
even
way.
if he
Which is,
wasn't,
by
I
the
would-
way, just terrible journalism. Like you have KFC in Yemen? Is that the fucking best question you have for someone who's apparently surviving a genocide in Yemen, who's been with the crew of kidnapped hostages, who has
That wasn't
apparently
even- that
partied
wasn't
with the
even correct.
captains? You say, is there KFC in Yemen? Are you fucking kidding me?
All right.
Just
Here's some
insane.
clips that you
But
haven't
hold on.
shown.
Besides being
Here's some
wrong,
clips.
it's
No, we're going clip
insanely
for clip. We're going
incompetent.
clip for clip. We're going clip for clip. Can you please play this? It's from my subreddit.
Sure.
Here.
Give me a sec. Dan's got to pass it to me. Okay. After this, please, we got to move on to the Nakba thing.
Yeah. Every single victim of Israeli or American violence has to be a pacifist. That is
Okay.
your
Do you want me to
perspective.
watch this? I mean, what the fuck, bro? It's 4 minutes, so I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but I'll watch like a minute or 2 minutes. Okay.
طبعا جاتني اسئله كثيره ماذا اذا اليهود قرروا ان يعودوا الى اليمن يعني بنسمح لهم ولا لا ولا طبعا طبيعي يعني احنا اليمنيين نمد ايدينا للسلام يعني اليمن مسموحه لاي شخص يعيش فيها.
This is like shot like by a fucking like propagandist. What are you talking about? Like he's all fucking dolled up. He's got makeup on. The lighting is perfect. Yeah, he's like, guys, please, we love the Jews. Give me a break.
يعني مشكلتنا مش مع اليهود.
Our problem is
Sound
not
like
with
a
the
big
Jews,
man,
guys.
buddy, dunking on a fucking 19-year-old living in Yemen. You pick and choose what you think. You pick and choose what you think is appropriate to show.
Well, what do you think about all the shit I showed you? Which do you think he believes, this or that?
I think he believes both.
Oh.
This is not at
He
odds
both believes
with
the
what you
Jews are our
presenting.
friends, and also
The
we need to
problem
murder
is-
them all.
Okay.
He
here-
believes that
we
Jews are our
gotta-
friends,
okay.
and we need to murder them
The
all. Is that
problem
correct?
you
Is that what you're
conflate-
saying?
You conflate.
No, he said Jews. He,
You
in
conflate
the tweets,
Judaism with
said this is what
Zionism
we're
from
going
a
to do to
Western
Jews.
perspective. For them, when they talk about Israel, they sometimes reflect it as
And that's the
Jews.
Jews' fault,
but
right?
Listen
That's-
to me.
and
But
you're
listen
blaming
to
the
me.
victim.
Because in that interview that I conducted with him, I asked him about how he felt about Jews, anti-Zionist Jews specifically, and he said
I
he
remember.
loves them because
That
he
is
does not
such a
have
lie. You're such a liar.
You don't know this
he
person,
said,
Ethan.
I
He has no
watched it. That's
reason.
not what he,
has
said,
no
though.
reason to
He said if
lie.
they
He's
support
in
Palestine,
fucking
then I
Yemen. He
like
could be
them.
dead by
He didn't.
now.
You're lying. You're just lying. You're lying about what he said. You're lying. I've seen that interview. You're lying.
Wait, what do you
he
mean?
He didn't say that. He said if they support Palestine, then that's good.
What?
Well, that's what he said. It's
Okay.
a fucking materially way different than I love Jews. What the fuck you said?
You didn't hear you just repeated what I said.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said love, but I think he didn't. I guess he didn't say love.
What did he say?
said
Hold
like.
on, Hasan. What did you say he said?
I said that I don't care what anyone's background is. I love them. Jew, Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. If you are against Israel, I love them. That's what I said. He has no
That's
problem
not what
with
you
Jews
said.
who are pro-Palestine.
That's nowhere close to what you said.
Dude.
Well, you realize you're wrong. You got caught in a lie, so you're revising. It's fine.
What?
All right, let's move on to the Nakba thing.
Dude, I don't care. Dude,
We gotta move on, bro.
Ethan, listen to my words very carefully. If he had told me, okay, I hate all Jews unconditionally. I am an anti-Semitic person.
He did tweet that.
Okay,
He did tweet
the
stuff like that.
conversation would go very differently. But even then, I
did
probably
say
wouldn't
that.
be as vicious as you assume.
He literally
I would,
said that on
or
social
you want
media
me to be,
continually.
because I understand the material conditions and
Gonna
what
kill all
plays
Jews.
a role in people's recognition of the world. What their
Nobody needs to
upbringing
fear
looks
us but
like.
Jews, he said. I'm going to shove my gun and kill Jews.
What? No, he didn't say that.
I'll play it again. You want me to play it again?
Oh, God. Okay, dude. You just play the fucking clip then. God damn it. Just play the clip.
Okay.
He said Zionist, but play the fucking clip, Ethan.
Yeah. I'll play it.
Play the clip I sent you without fucking complaining. He's
No,
like,
why-
he's too dolled up.
But you want me to watch your clip? I thought, no, we're going to watch my clip.
No, play the fucking clip I sent you. Stop
By the
being
way,
so
is this, I don't know if this
spoiled.
is, I don't know if this music's claimed, by the way. We can,
It's fine.
It does matter,
it's most likely
unfortunately.
not
You're on
fucking
Twitch
claimed.
where
Come on.
stealing content is fucking regular, but on YouTube, there's standards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. God forbid, someone might copy strike you, and then their lawyers might demand erroneous
Which you admitted
things
is
out of
sometimes
you.
warranted. Where's the
Mr. Fair
link of
use? Mr. Fair use.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what fair use is? You fucking moron. It's using it fairly. There's a
Yeah.
big
No, I
difference
know.
between.
Fair use is when you get mad at Redditors criticizing you, so you fucking you get your high-powered
course I care about
attorney
my
to fucking
monetization
sue them
status.
and make demands about how they have to
Does that have to do with fair
release
use, man?
information about their
All right,
allegiances to
let me
Reddit.
play this for a minute, and then we'll move on.
All right, play it.
فوق رؤوسنا وما في عندنا أي مشكلة وهذه رسالتي لليهود أتمنى أن توصل وطبعا وأشكر الأجنبي.
This is the most pathetic terrorist propaganda bullshit I have ever seen, and the fact that you actually think this is credible is so hilarious
Dude,
to me.
you-
Wow.
look,
Let's
man,
keep it going.
look.
No, I love this. This is great. Let him.
All right, just keep playing it. Keep playing it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying. I don't know where the audio went. Oh, why was it? Sorry, hold on. We're having.
I pulled it back up.
Taylor Lorenz tweeted, "What's so crazy is that we tried to nab an interview with Rashad, the Yemeni teen who went viral for WAPO, before Hasan the Hun got the scoop. Ethan continues to chastise Hasan for legitimate journalism and an interview that half the
What was
MSM was
legitimate
chasing."
journal? Well, first of all, Taylor Lorenz is a fucking hack loser who's obsessed with you, okay? Of course she would say that. She, by the way, what was the legitimate? Name one question you asked him that represents legitimate journalism.
Okay, great.
One question.
Great question. What do you feel about anti-Zionist Jews leading many of the anti-Israel protests in the United States of America?
That's your most important journalistic question, which he basically said.
No, you
they're
asked
cool.
me
If
one.
they're-
I gave you one.
I don't think that. I mean, I find that to be insignificant, especially considering his answer. No follow-up questions. Why don't you ask him if he? Why don't you ask a follow-up question like,
Ethan,
do you not care if they're Zionist Jews? That they're Israeli Jews that support you?
I don't give a fuck if he cares if there's Zionist Jews or not.
What about why?
Israeli
Do you
Jews, what are
think?
talking
Hey,
about?
what was the hard-hitting part about asking if he likes One Piece? Was that hard-hitting journalism?
No, it was called humanizing.
That was called cringe as fuck, glazing,
Yeah,
pathetic.
because you don't like when a fucking brown person gets a little bit of airspace and they look
that
like
right?
a human being.
So
and
you're
not a
resorting to
fucking
calling me
barbaric
racist now.
monster.
By the way, this
Because
dude's
you're
white as fuck. What are you
Islamophobic,
talking
Ethan.
about? This dude's whiter than I am. What the
All
fuck
right,
are you
let's get
talking
back to
about,
the
dipshit?
IDF. So
Hold
you
on,
said
you
the
accuse
IDF
me of
could
being
be
racist. Are you
declared a
talking about this
terrorist
guy?
organization,
Are you
and
talking
your
about
wife
this
is a part of
guy?
the IDF. Do you think it's
You're
appropriate
right,
to call
dude.
your wife a terrorist?
I think you do. No, I don't.
You don't think it's appropriate? Okay.
No.
you have stated time and time again that you believe, to show how pro-Palestine you are, that you believe settlers are valid military targets. Who do you think is protecting the settlers who you claim are valid
the IDF
military
is
targets?
protecting them, and it's fucking insane. Yeah,
in
it's
the
horrible.
process of their
Was
pogroms
my wife
that
out
they're
there
doing.
protecting? Sorry, was Ela out there protecting settlers?
No, she was doing a night raid, as a matter of fact, and I didn't know any of this until recently. For the record, until a couple
She was
months
a
ago.
fucking
She was
You're
out
gonna
there
do the
doing
Raider of
night
Ramallah
raids.
snark
Do you
bullshit.
think-
Go on, yeah. Your community doesn't harass anyone. She was 18 years old. She went on a ride along to Ramallah for some kind of fucking mission. She stayed in the car, and then they went back, and that's all that happened. She's
described
18 years
the
old, bro. She's a
process of taking
secretary.
someone hostage. You called him it, by the way. That person was a Palestinian living in his own, living in his own fucking home. And your wife went
Can they
on
not
a
commit
raid
crimes?
to Ramallah, which you have called a terror city.
Yeah,
So
that was
there's
an old
inconsistency
clip.
here.
I don't think
your
Ramallah's
wife
a terror
valid
city.
military target in that process? Because you've said that settlers are valid military targets. Do you think your wife is a valid military target? Do you think your wife is a terrorist?
She's not a West
Ethan?
Bank settler. She's not a West Bank settler.
But she's in the West Bank.
Bad
Where's
Empanada
Ramallah,
thinks she is.
Ethan?
Bad Empanada thinks she's valid. Your friends over at Second Thought think that she's a valid target.
You think she's
Do you?
a valid military target. That's
Do
my
you think
point,
she's a
because
valid
there's
military target?
inconsistencies here.
Do you think she's a valid military target?
I do not, as a matter of fact. I
Wow,
don't.
great.
Okay?
All right, can we please move on to this
the
Nakba
listen
thing?
to me. Listen
Hasan,
to me.
bro, you're making this
Listen
unwatchable.
to me. Listen to me. Okay?
We got to move on.
How does this make sense in your mind? You say Israel is doing genocide. She has participated in the kidnapping of a Palestinian in the West Bank. You say
You don't know
hate
who
the
was
West
kidnapped
Bank.
and for
You
what
say
reason.
you
We
hate
don't-
the settlers.
Well, we don't know who is.
protects the
First of all,
settlers, Ethan. Your wife did.
Kidnapped. They arrested somebody. We don't know what happened or what they did.
So it
what
was,
if he
it was
fucking
justifiable.
stabbed
Do you
civilians?
understand
Doesn't
the
that
process in
happen?
which how people are arrested in
I'm
the
sorry.
West Bank, Ethan?
Do Palestinian terrorists never
They're
stab and
placed
blow
under,
up
they're
civilians?
placed under military detention. They are not actually placed. They do not go through a
Do
civil court
Palestinian
process.
terrorists
They are
ever
not,
commit violence on
they
civilians
are
that would
not-
warrant them being
they
arrested?
Are
Give me a
not
fucking break.
in the West Bank.
You
The
don't know anything
Palestinians
about
that are
this person
kidnapped
or this
are-
raid.
In Ramallah, in Palestinian territory, your wife was an illegal occupier of a terrorist organization, also known as the Israeli Occupying Force, Ethan. Now, I know people that have
That's
also
not how it's
served
known,
in
but
the Israeli
that's what
Occupying
you call
Force, as
it.
a matter of fact. I've relied on breaking the silence.
By the way, her
for
name is
example,
Hila. I don't know if
in
you keep
terms of
doing
my
your wife.
coverage.
Why do you do that? Why do you keep referring to her as my wife? It's bizarre.
Okay, Hila, whatever, who cares?
Well, it just
stop
belies some
hyper-focusing
really
on random
bizarre
shit.
thing.
Stop
It's not
hyper-focusing on
random
random
at all.
shit.
It says a lot.
Listen to my words. Listen to my
Oh,
words.
please.
I
It's
have
so
no
exhausting.
issue with someone as long as they have recognized their mistakes, as long as they recognize that that was wrong. What I take issue with is consistently defending Israel. You have also participated in the defense of Israel. It makes no sense. You're inconsistent. You say it's a genocide, but people can't resist militarily. You say it's a genocide, but all of the people who are outspoken are vile anti-Semites.
Hila was
Who is
doing
supposed to be
hold
able to
on.
resist against this genocide?
Hold
Do you
the
actually
phone.
think it's a genocide?
Ela was doing mandatory military service. What should she have done?
There's numerous options. One, religious
Yeah.
exemption. Two, refusing to serve. But even then, I don't have a problem with her being socially conditioned into thinking that this is appropriate. I have a problem with what she's saying now. I have a problem with how she
What'd she
reflects
say now
on
that's
that
wrong?
and doesn't realize that that was an unjustifiable thing to do. Those
Hey,
are
well,
real
listen,
human
Dan,
beings
you can talk
that are
to
getting
you can talk to
kidnapped.
her, debate about it. I don't know what you're even referring to. Okay.
What?
I don't even know what the fuck you're referring to. You're just calling my wife a terrorist. Like, what? Give me a break,
No.
dude. She did
has
mandatory.
talked on your
Let me ask you a
podcast-
question.
She's talked
Hasan,
on your podcast
please, you gotta
about
let me talk.
how she went on a raid. She was
You
bored.
have
She
to
had a
let me talk.
secretary
The
job.
fact
It's
that you're just
mandatory
talking over
conscription.
me
It was an
and
adventure
being
for her.
louder does not mean you're right. I promise.
What?
Being louder and talking more does not mean you're
She
right. Okay?
volunteered.
It's good to listen to what I have to say.
Okay.
She's part
Is
of
it a lie?
mandatory
Did
conscription.
Hila not volunteer? Did Hila not volunteer to go to the West Bank on a raid because she was bored? In Ramallah.
Yeah, she's 18. It's understandable.
Okay.
We don't know what that guy did, though. We don't know what
Oh,
the
so he
what
could have
the
been
raid was
he
for.
could have been a vicious
What
terrorist
if he
monster,
killed
is what you're
people?
saying.
Yeah. What if he killed people? Of course. If he killed people, of course
Ethan,
he would be worthy of being
Ethan,
arrested.
Is Ramallah a part of Israeli territory?
I mean, it's complicated, right? I don't. It's under occupation. No, I don't think so, but it's under occupation, right?
Okay. So why was your wife in Ramallah?
Maybe are getting a terrorist that killed civilians. She
It's
sat in a
not
car.
complicated, Ethan.
She
It's
sat in a
not
car and
complicated
didn't
at
even
all.
leave it and never
Your
did
wife
it again.
participated in an illegal raid according to international human rights. That is the reality. Now, I understand.
Are you upset
the
if this
importance of
person
social
killed like
conditioning.
a
If she
child? Would you be upset
she
if this
were to
person
talk
they
about-
arrested like
if-
stabbed people? Like you don't know what you're talking
If she were
about.
to talk about how fucked
Okay,
up
fine.
that
My wife's a
was-
terrorist, bro. What the fuck? It's
no,
so boring.
stop. Listen to my words. If she
No,
were to talk about
my
how
wife
fucked
is a
up that is,
terrorist.
as
Very
many former IDF vets have on breaking the silence, if she talked about the night raid that she participated in the same way that
Just
former
like Frogan
IDF
says,
vets
only-
that
I
are
don't
part of
hate
breaking
only the ones that
silence talk
regret
about,
it.
I would have no issue with her.
Do you hope
wanna
she
know
gets
why? Because I understand
PTSD
people can
too?
change.
I don't condone the raid, but I mean, see, neither of us have any information about like what actually happened. You know what I mean?
There is no. You don't understand. She is illegally there. She is not
Okay,
supposed to be
she's a
there.
terrorist.
It does not matter.
She's
Her
dead.
and her entire brigade was not supposed to be there. That is an act of
I don't think
terror.
she knew
And
what
as a
they were
matter of fact,
doing.
what she participated
I don't think
in,
she knew what they were doing or where they were going.
What she participated in is
I don't think
called
she
a
knew
night
where
raid.
they were going or what
she
they were doing.
participated in is called
Okay, she's a
night
terrorist,
raid.
bro. Please, we got to move on.
The
This is,
reason
like,
why
just
the reason
so-
why the Israeli occupying force, the reason why the
Oh
Israeli
my
occupying
God,
force
dude.
participates
People wanna
in
watch
these night
this.
raids in the West Bank.
You're making
is
this
to create
unwatchable.
A
Let's just-
constant, a
Okay.
constant feeling of terror.
Hassan, talking more does not make you right. Okay, you got
The
to
reason
understand.
why the Israeli occupying force
You're repeating
participates
yourself.
in night raids is to create a constant sense of terror upon the
We
Palestinians.
don't condone
who
it.
are
She was
there
19. She
in
was
their
doing
own
military
land. Listen to
conscription. She
me.
didn't know where they were going
Listen
or what
to
they
me.
were doing.
Listen
okay?
to me.
Thank you.
Listen
I'm
to me.
listening, but you just keep repeating yourself.
The
This is what
reason
you
why,
do.
the reason
You
why
gotta
I
move
know,
on. I want
the
to have
reason
a,
why I know that. You
Son,
want to know why I
you
know
gotta
that?
stop.
Do
Do
you
you
wanna know
want
why
this
I
to be
know that?
unwatchable? Is that what you want?
What?
Do you want this to be unwatchable?
The reason why I know that, Ethan, is because
I'm
of
take that as a
breaking the
yes.
silence veterans who have come out and spoken out against this practice. That's why I know that.
Hassan, you say that Ela could have gone to jail and done a conscientious objection instead of joining the army. Why do you pay taxes?
What?
Why do you pay taxes to
This
the United
is your
States
big
government?
argument, Ethan?
Answer
that
the
I pay
question.
taxes and I'm morally culpable. I know. That's why I try to fucking fight against
Why don't
this
you go to
goddamn government
jail?
doing this shit
Well,
every
why don't you
day.
stand up for your? Hold on. Why don't you stand up for your principles and go to jail for it?
Because it would not actually stop. Okay, it would not actually stop. The reason why I'm saying,
What
I
wouldn't
don't
stop?
I don't take issue with Gila's fucking actions then, as long as, just like you said, she was just 19 years old. I take issue with the fact that she still defends it on principle. She says the
What did she
Israeli
say?
occupying force is not a terror organization. You have a disagreement with him. Or
Well,
her, sorry.
I think I can see it from her perspective too, which is like, you know, the problem with you
Yeah.
is that
But
everything's black and
you can't see
white.
it from Rashid al-Haddad's perspective, and you
Yeah,
know
he's a
for a
fucking
fucking fact
terrorist
that your
who says he wants
audience
to
also
kill
doesn't see
Jews,
it, and
that you
that's
said
why
it's like
you can
Anne
fucking
Frank.
constantly claim that he is a terrorist, whereas
Oh
your
my
wife,
God, bro!
well, it's
Please,
complicated.
I want this to be watchable. Okay, let's move on, please.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. You made your
Got
point.
it.
You made your point. Okay. So specifically, you said this, which is you said in the context puke. You said this was the worst thing I did. So let me play it, okay, and then we can discuss.
More Jews displaced than Palestinians.
Let me go back
in
just 'cause-
1948
yeah,
countries
just to give the
that
whole context.
expelled them in massive amounts following the 1948 war. In fact, there was more Jews displaced than Palestinians.
This was one of the
during
worst pieces of misinformation I've seen in the fucking context puke. For the record, it was crazy.
Nakba.
This specific.
So Mike, again, nicely done. Let this guy hold your hand and formulate your opinions, but he's not here to help you, okay? So you tell me what was wrong with what was misinformation about saying that 900,000 Jews were displaced?
You make a comparison between Planned Dalit, which is a planned ethnic cleansing campaign, to one, horrify Palestinians inside of villages that had actually no arms whatsoever because they had specific peace agreements that they've done with Jewish villages.
What was
by
the
killing them
exaggeration?
and including
No,
by,
this isn't a
by
comparison
massacring them,
question.
and then
What was the
and
fucking
then
hell, bro?
letting
You are
survivors
incapable
tell the
of
tale.
answering anything.
You asked me a question and I can't even fucking
No,
answer
you're
it. What are we
not
doing?
answering it. You're not. You're just
I
going
am.
on and on.
I am answering it. Ethan.
What was the exaggeration?
Ethan, sit the fuck
About
down and
the
listen to the
historical
history
fact
lesson.
of
Okay? You're gonna learn a little bit right now. Okay, Deir Yassin is Tantura. These are two very famous massacres that took place. The brigades, the militant brigades, the Zionist brigades that then formed the IDF, including some that personally called themselves terrorists, by the way, Lihi and Irgun, went in and did horrifying mass rape, kidnappings, throwing people in ovens. And then the survivors left to tell the tale. In that process, these brigades would go to each individual city and forcibly ethnically cleanse 750,000 Palestinians. This is known as the Nakba.
What the fuck does that have to do with the Jewish refugees? Answer that question. I know what the Nakba is. I don't deny it.
Do you think that that is even remotely comparable to Jewish people
How is it
leaving
not?
sometimes voluntarily and sometimes because their governments had made deals with
how many left
either
voluntarily?
Israel or France?
How many of the 900,000 left voluntarily?
I don't know the exact number of how many left voluntarily. Do
Take a
you?
guess. Take a guess.
I would suspect that a big chunk of them, you're going to say, did not leave voluntarily, but that is not the case. Most of
you're
them left
lying and
voluntarily.
you're fucking dead wrong. You brought up the fact that I talked about what happened in Iraq. So let me give you a timeline of what happened in Iraq. 1932, they gain independence. 1934, Hebrew is banned. Jews are fired from government positions. 1938, Zionist activity is outlawed. Crimes as trivial as possessing a biblical map of the Holy Land will send you to jail. The Farhud program, inspired by neo-Nazis, Rashid al-Khalini killed 180 Jews. Hundreds were injured. Widespread looting, property damage. 1947, Jews were banned from immigrating because they didn't want them to go strengthen the state of Israel, and they wanted to hold them prisoners against Israel and the West. In 1948, the war begins. Jewish banks were forbidden to transact with foreign countries. Jews were arrested for Zionist activity, for economic crimes. They were fines that were paid to the Ministry of Defense. In 1949, a month after taking office, the
Can I ask you a
British
question?
learned
Just
that
one
they were
question.
planning to expel the Jews from Iraq before they even left.
Did
Does
you-
this sound like volunteer?
did you-
Does this sound voluntary?
Okay,
Does that
here,
sound voluntary?
Dan, I sent you a clip. You can play.
No, no,
it.
no,
One
no,
of the
no,
most-
no.
One of
Does
the
it-
most important scholars on this issue
Oh my
is
God,
an Iraqi
please.
Jew by the name of Avi
Oh.
Shlaim.
Yeah, I love this. Let's listen to him.
Okay, let's listen to it.
Yeah.
Jews were convinced that Israel had a hand in uprooting them. After the 1948 war, there was mounting popular hostility towards the Jews in Iraq. 5 bombs exploded in Jewish sites. The series of bombs created a panic which led more and more Jews to register to leave the country. I met an elderly friend of my mother's, an Iraqi Jew called Yaakov Karkukli, who had been in the Zionist underground. One member of his group, Yosef Basri, a very, very intelligent Jewish lawyer, and his assistant, Shalom Saleh Shalom, were responsible for 3 out of the 5 bombs. Basri's controller was an Israeli intelligence officer.
And
named Max
let's grant that what he's saying is true and that 3 of the 5 bombs were done by Zionists, right? How does that explain 150,000 people leaving the fucking country?
Why?
Thousands of years of civilization that have been there, 2,000 years, just picking up and leaving, almost virtually gone. How does that explain that?
Why is it that
A
the
few bombs?
Israeli government? Why is it the Israeli government benefited from creating instability and making it seem as though these countries were uninhabitable? And why do you think that, despite the fact that Iraq and numerous other countries have offered Israelis or Jews a right to return, why has
Because
that
they were
failed
being
on the
fucking-
Israeli front for numerous reasons? I know why.
Let me
but
tell you an
maybe
inconvenient
can
fact
arrive
for
at
you,
that
Hasan.
conclusion.
Let me tell you an
I
inconvenient
wonder
fact.
why that happened right as
Before
Israel
the
was
bombs
being
went off,
established.
Before the bombs went off, 100,000 of the 125 Jews were already registered to leave. Do you want to explain that?
Yes. Jews wanted to go to Israel, Ethan. They liked the idea
Okay,
of
great.
going
So
to
let me
Israel.
hear what Avi.
Israel.
Okay,
you
so you're
like Israel. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
you're a liar. You're a disgusting fucking propagandist liar. Here's what Avi Schleim actually
My
said.
research, I established
Scumbag.
that one bomb was lobbed, one hand grenade was lobbed by a young activist in the Istiklal Party, which wanted to expel the Jews from Iraq and confiscate the properties. And another bomb was, another hand grenade was lobbed into the Masouda Shem Tov synagogue, and there 4 people were killed. and he was a criminal who had a grudge against the Jews, and it had nothing to do with the Mossad.
Did you hear that? The first two had nothing to do with the Mossad. But let's continue to listen to the respected scholar, Avi Schleim, you fucking liar.
Hold on. Ethan.
Nope, you listen to this fucking historian. Yes, you said they left by choice. They left because of Zionism. They left because they were being threatened. Let's hear what your respected historian has to say, you liar.
That's right.
Listen.
If all this is true, the main reason for the exodus was not the bombs, it was persecution by the government. And I concede that. It's not part of my argument that the bombs were the main reason for the liquidation of this community. But my answer to my Zionist critics is, even if I knew for certain that not a single Iraqi Jew left Iraq to go to Israel because of the bombs, I would still think this is a real indictment of the state of Israel, because Israel was created to provide a safe haven for Jews, not to be harassing and threatening Jews in other countries.
By the way, he said, and I'll quote it for you, we did not leave Iraq because we were Zionists. We left because we were no longer safe. He wrote that in his book, 3 Worlds. Have you read that book?
No, I have not read 3 Worlds.
Okay, well, you're using a lot of source from it. It's a book that he wrote about his
migration. Only book he wrote about this. But go on.
Have you read any of the other ones?
Yes.
Really? Which ones?
The book that I'm referencing is from the Iron Wall.
3 Worlds, okay? He writes about his time in Iraq.
Memoirs of an
writes
Arab
about his
Jew.
time
It's the
in
newest
Israel.
book, I know.
He writes about his time in the UK. In 3 Worlds, he writes about his own family, and he describes their departure from Iraq as traumatic, disorienting, and not voluntary. They were not proud Zionist migrations. They were leaving out of fear.
Ethan.
He said that himself.
Ethan.
He said, we did not leave Iraq because we were Zionists. We left because we were no longer safe.
You are failing to comprehend a very important reason why I brought up Avi Schleim, by the way. And here's...
Yeah, because you think he supports your claim, but he absolutely does not.
No,
that's why, because you're a fucking liar.
He absolutely does.
Contend with what I said.
On, let me explain.
No. Contend with what I'm saying. He said we did not leave Iraq because we were Zionists. We left because we were no longer safe. Do you want to explain what he meant by that? Explain what he meant by saying we didn't leave because we were Zionists. We left because we were no longer safe.
Okay.
Explain to me.
I can't wait to bring up Avi Schleim on the broadcast to make you fucking look like a dumbass.
I can't wait too. And now explain what he means by that. We did not leave Iraq because we were Zionists. We left because we were no longer safe.
Are not Palestinian. You fucking moron. You racist piece of shit. Because Iraq and the pan-Arabic nationalist movement that arise out of Zionist
You are out of your mind.
Not about Palestinians.
Okay, so what did the Jews in Iraq have to do with fucking Israel? You bigot. You are so out of your mind.
Iraqis.
Dude, you screaming and grandstanding doesn't mean you're right.
Iraqi government's racism during the pan-Arabic nationalist movements as a vindication for why, or a comparison as to why Israel had to do the Nakba.
Do you think
fucking racist piece of shit?
Thanks,
Do you
Hasan.
think do you think all Arabs have one fucking mind? Is that what you think?
Why the fuck were the Iraqi Jews leaving Iraq in fear?
Of course there were Iraqi Jews that left Iraq in fear.
Because why? Because why? Answer the question. You want to call me racist? Why were Iraqi Jews leaving to go to Israel?
You're a fucking moron who doesn't understand.
That's why they left. They left because I'm a fucking moron.
That Arabs are not one-minded.
Hasan, you coward.
That there were numerous pan-Arabic nationalist movements.
Answer the question. You're going to call me racist, but you won't answer. Why did the Iraqi Jews leave Iraq?
There were numerous reasons.
Because of anti-Semitism. They hated Jewish people that had nothing to do with Israel. They were forced to leave. They were chased out. They lived there for thousands of years. They had businesses. They had homes that they were forced to abandon to go to Israel because it was the only fucking place they could. Why would Iraqis hate the Jews living there if they had nothing to do with Zionism or Israel? Why?
Because settler colonialism was already
That has nothing to do with them, you absolute fucking dumbass.
Ethan.
What does that have to do with the Iraqi Jews?
Do you think the Aliyahs were happening initially?
So it was there. So you're blaming them? Are you blaming the Iraqi Jews who had nothing to do with it? What the fuck is your point?
I am
you
not
call me
justifying
racist.
the racism I'm not justifying it. You're not comprehending my
Yes,
point.
you are. They
I've never
left
justified that.
because
And
the
I've
Iraq
also
turned on them
openly
after
recognized-
1948.
Ethan, I have
You're materially
openly
wrong. You're a liar.
recognized that there were numerous reasons why other countries, I know, hard concept, all Arab, they all
Yeah.
have the same mindset.
I
Other
know. Let's go
countries
over
and their
them,
pan-Arabic
genius.
nationalist movements as states were being
Let's go over them.
designed,
In
mostly
Egypt,
mostly by Western nations.
You want to talk facts? Let's talk facts.
Ethan, you don't know.
In
You got
Egypt.
fucking a chat GPT summary. Let me explain to you
Hey,
so
Hasan,
you can
let
fucking
me-
not look like a dumbass.
Okay, do you want to listen or do you just want to add home?
No, I want to tell you my perspective.
No,
This is
you wanna
supposed to
talk.
be
That's the
an
problem. You
admonishment
don't
of
wanna
my-
listen.
You're
You've
supposed to be
talked
attacking my
plenty.
perspective.
You called me
clarify
racist,
my
bro. The
position
least you could
so
do is shut the
understand.
fuck up and listen to me talk, okay? The Iraqi Jews left because they were in fear of anti-Semitism. They had nothing to do with Israel or Zionism. The Arabs in Iraq, the Iraqis, turned on them because of what happened in the war in 1948. That had nothing to do with them. So if you want to blame the
not
Jews
just
for their own
1948.
anti-Semitism,
It's
you
not
go
just
right ahead, but that's
1948.
racism. Now let's talk about
I also
Egypt.
recognize that.
No, you're not. You are absolutely not. In Egypt, 75,000 Jews were displaced. Okay?
Ethan,
following
is
anti-Jewish
Egypt
riots and
Palestine?
bombs in
Is
Egypt.
Palestinians? Is Egypt Palestinians? Is Iraq Palestinians? Why were the Palestinians never
got
allowed
nothing
to
to
return?
do with that.
A
They were
right
forced
that
to go
every
there
single
by
one
the
of these
Arab
countries have
countries.
offered the Jews that were expelled or left on their own voluntarily.
listen,
These
Hasan.
are completely separate countries.
Nobody's
You
justifying
are
the
packaging them
Nakba.
together to
No,
make a
no one is
horrifying
justifying the
position.
Nakba. I'm explaining how it's fucking insanely racist to discredit the plight, the
No, you're
running
fucking
of
racist because I don't
discrimination.
discredit the plight. I think
But
you're,
I'm not justifying the Nakba. You seem to be justifying why Jews were chased out of their home country.
No, I'm not, Ethan.
Why'd
I'm
they
not
leave?
justifying
Why'd they
that at all.
leave?
You think
Why'd
that,
they leave?
You think that because you want to drive home a point that this is
Why did they
anti-Semitic.
leave their
You
communities
are
that have been there
making-
for 2,000 years, leaving their money,
You will
their
never
businesses,
understand.
their
I don't
homes?
think
Why
you'll
did they
understand.
leave?
Do you think Iraq is Palestine? Do you think Egypt is Palestine? Do
Nobody's
you think,
defending
do you
the
think,
Nakba.
Do you think that all Arabs are operating on antiquated anti-Semitism? And if your answer is yes, why
you're
the fuck did Jews find the Ottoman Empire to be a safe haven for fucking hundreds
Where's the Ottoman
of years
Empire?
when the
Let's talk
when
about the last 100
Christians
years.
in Western
That's great.
Europe
Yeah, the Ottoman
were-
Empire was great for the Jews. Let's talk about the last 100 years. Let's talk about 1948.
Yeah, of course,
Anti-Jewish
of course,
riots
it's
broke
Israel
out
of course.
after the war. Hassan, you need to shut the fuck up and listen, okay?
Oh my
after
God.
the war, after the war, okay, in 1948, there was anti-Jewish riots and bombs in Egypt. Why was that? Because of the Jews? The Jews brought it on themselves? Following the
I
establishment
never
of
made
Israel.
that inference. What are you talking
You-
about?
Of course you did.
No, I didn't. I did not make
following-
that inference at all.
So they left because Zionism.
No, Ethan, if you were to listen to my words, and I use them very carefully, even though I get heated
Yes,
sometimes.
careful, right.
Okay. Egypt, Iraq, Morocco, each of these countries where Jews lived in the MENA region all the way to the Levant had different reasons. Some of them were direct pogroms. Others
Lie.
were
You're a liar.
the colonial.
You are a tangibly, historically
Do you think that wait,
proven
do you think
liar.
that Jews,
And I
just
feel
said
let
that
me
some of them were because of pogroms. You're not hearing anything I'm saying. You're so conditioned into saying
No,
liar
no.
that you're
The amount
undermining
that
your
left,
own point.
the amount that left because of Zionism was minute. They were chased out. They were
Ethan.
forced to become Zionists by their oppressors because they had nowhere else to go. In Egypt, following the establishment of Israel in May
Ethan,
1948,
none of these countries are
after
Palestine.
that
None of these
is
countries.
an
these
insanely
countries are-
irrelevant point. A series
Dude,
of
you
bombs
can't make a
targeted Jewish
comparison
areas in
between a
Cairo
planned
between
ethnic
June and
cleansing
September.
campaign and
They
other
killed
countries.
70
That's my
Jews,
point.
injured 200. They confiscated Jewish-owned businesses and synagogues were attacked and destroyed. Okay?
Ethan.
In
listen to my
1956, the
words.
Suez
One
Crisis.
is direct
1956,
violence, direct planned violence and an extermination campaign. The other
approximately
is
25,000
hostility.
Jews were
The other is
expelled from
falsely
Egypt.
misplaced hostility towards
25,000
random
Jews were
from
expelled.
other countries. You
So
don't
are you
have
blaming
to-
them?
You don't
Hold
understand
on.
this, and you
Hold on.
will
Are you
never
blaming the
understand this, I don't
Jews for
think.
getting? Are you blaming the Jews for being expelled from Egypt? 25,000 of
No,
them.
Ethan. If you listen to
Okay.
my words, you would understand.
So what is it I exaggerated about? 900,000 Jews were displaced.
Because you are making a comparison with different countries
No, I'm not.
versus one singular force that planned an extermination campaign, planned an ethnic cleansing campaign. Other countries are other countries and their reaction to it, or other countries and the previous hostility towards Jews have nothing to do with Palestinians. So making this comparison,
of course not. That's
is
why it's
gross.
anti-Semitic.
It's like,
that's why it's anti-Semitic. It has nothing to do with Palestine, but they still got kicked out for being Jewish. That's literally what anti-Semitism.
It's like
1,000 Jews in Egypt were arrested and detained without charges. The government seized 500 Jewish-owned businesses and froze bank accounts. Expelled Jews were compelled to sign a declaration donating their property to the Egyptian state and were allowed to take only minimal personal belongings. In Algeria, 130,000 Jews were expelled. On the independence,
that's not Palestine. They're not. They're just
dude,
Arabs. They're not the same fucking people.
So my point is very simple. They were expelled from their homes because of anti-Semitism.
Ethan, you used Egypt as an
example.
example.
What is
Half
wrong
of these
about
countries
that?
You're pointing
what is
to
wrong
in the
with what I
time
just
when
said? They were
Jews
expelled.
Were literally controlled
Hassan, please,
by
you've got to
English
fucking
and
answer a
French,
question.
by the English and French colonial
they were
occupations.
Expelled.
What are you talking about?
They were expelled because of anti-Semitism. What did I say wrong?
Oh my God.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Algeria was under French occupation. It is the design where the French occupied Algeria did not squash the attempts of expelling Jews. I'm not saying that there wasn't actually
most Algerians were French citizens and went to France.
Caused Jews to feel unsafe, Ethan.
95% of Algeria's 140,000 Jewish population.
Individual, sometimes Western powers and what they allowed in those countries on the Palestinian plight when you make this comparison. That's what I'm saying.
Is it anti-Semitic for Jewish people to get kicked out of their home?
Right? The Turkish, the Ottoman Empire and the forces and the Ottoman genocide that they conducted, a mass extermination campaign, is because other fucking random countries where Armenians were
Iraq happened
also
after independence and as of
Jerusalem. Turks were getting dispelled in other countries.
The pogrom happened as a direct
that's the way that it was taught in the past. That it was a
By the way, did you
necessary voluntary migration.
By the way, did you? Oh my God, bro! Did you say Anne Frank died before she could resist? I don't know if that was a fever dream.
Wait, I'm saying that like. Would you have an issue with Anne Frank if she actually was able to?
Sorry, I just thought it was an insane thing to say. I'm not trying to litigate it. In Tripoli,
wait,
anti-Jewish riots broke out amid post-war unrest.
Yes,
synagogues were burned. Jewish institutions were shut down.
What's your point about Anne Frank? Why are you trying to deflect away from what I'm saying here?
That she's no, I just think that statement was insane. The Six-Day War backlash. In 1967, another Israel victory, Jewish communities got mobbed. 6,000 Jews were evacuated, homes were destroyed, synagogues were burned. In Morocco, 250,000 Jews were expelled. Anti-Jewish riots broke out in 1948. You'll notice all of these, most of these pogroms are happening in 1948 as a direct result of the war. The Arabs turned on their Jewish populace out of anti-Semitism, period, point blank. June 7 to 8, 1948. In northeastern Morocco, following the declaration of the state of independence, the state of Israel on May 14, 1948, anti-Jewish riots erupted in the town of Jarada. These towns were significant transit points for Moroccan Jews seeking to immigrate. 47 Jews were killed, many were injured, Jewish homes and businesses were looted and destroyed. In 1950-1960, harassment and immigration. The year following 1948 riot, Moroccan Jews faced increased pressure. These factors contributed to a significant immigration of Jews from Morocco. Immigration to Israel was banned in 1959, but before that, 274,000 Moroccan Jews immigrated primarily to Israel. Yemen and Aden.
Remember when you said you weren't a Zionist?
50,000.
Remember when you said you weren't a Zionist? These are direct Zionist talking points.
This is historical facts, literally spread by your very own Avi Schleim, who, if I'll quote him back to you, said, we didn't leave because we were Zionists.
On top of
we
this,
did not leave because we were Zionists. We left because we were afraid.
Ethan, that's the difference. If you asked Avi Schleim whether it is comparable to say the Nakba and the 900,000 Jews that left
I'm not defending
from
the Nakba.
Separate countries, he would laugh at you.
Your failure
to
acknowledge the trauma of both groups is the reason why you are a radical fucking propagandist liar. Both trauma needs to be acknowledged by both groups. There's two things that need to be true for this ever to be resolved peacefully.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Palestinian
Israel should keep
self-determination
doing a
and
genocide.
the Israelis' right to have secure borders.
Zionism was
As long as you ignore that,
You're right.
there will always be war. Palestinians will always die, and you will continue to make money from it. Operation Magic Carpet. Jews were secretly airlifted to Israel due to rising hostility.
It's so interesting because
50,000 were
Ethan,
relocated. In
the PLO did
Tunisia,
recognize that Jewish harm, as a
130,000
matter of
after
fact. The PLO did recognize that, and they wanted those countries to actually do a right to return for all Jews. Why did Israel stop that from happening, Ethan? Don't you think that Zionism is the problem here?
Avi Schleim
what
said,
happened?
quote,
They didn't fucking send you that clip? They didn't send you that fucking
Avi
piece of
Schleim-
information? So the
Dude,
PLO,
Avi
Yasser
Schleim-
Arafat, the people that don't care about Jewish plight, actually did see
the guy who
wrongdoing that
oversaw
happened
the
to the
second
Jews and
Intifada?
wanted
What the
Jews
fuck
to
are
be
you
able
on
to
about?
Go back and do a right to return if they wanted to do so into their nation of origin, as a matter
I'm
of fact.
talking about the
And yet
flights,
Israel was
bro.
the one who didn't
you
want
deny
that to
the
happen.
flight
Why
of
is that the
Middle
case,
Eastern
Ethan?
Jews. No, you deny the flight. You deny the trauma of
I
Middle
don't deny
Eastern
the
Jews.
flight, Ethan.
You
don't
absolutely
understand.
deny the
You are
trauma.
attributing-
No, you
are
deny
making
that
a
they left by.
comparison
You try to
between-
say that they left by choice. That is a gross
No,
historical
there are Jews that
inaccuracy.
left by choice. That is true.
Yes, some did.
There are
Of
Jews
the
that absolutely
900,000,
left
the
by
vast majority
choice.
left because they were afraid.
Ethan,
Because they were being
there
discriminated
are
against.
Jews
That is a
that-
historical fact.
Have
Six-Day
you ever
War
actually
aftermath.
listened to a clip of me talking about this?
What?
Oh my God, you have no idea what my perspective on this is. You're just fucking
Hey, of course.
yelling at nothing.
Well, what are you doing right now?
Oh
What are you
my
wasting time
God.
for, buddy?
This is the reason why you're repeating.
No, I
shit
have
that
heard you
have not
talk about
fucking-
it
the
time
shit
and
that I
time
don't
again.
actually believe.
Bro, you are continually, okay, not
Oh my
acknowledging
God.
the trauma of Middle Eastern
Oh my
Jews.
God.
You characterize it like they
have
left
You ever
by.
listened,
Yes,
have
I've
you ever
seen
listened
it.
to anything that's not 30 seconds long?
Yes, bro.
From me?
That's
Have
so
you?
ironic that you're saying that as
I'm
you
literally in
misquote
front of you
Avi
right now,
Schleim,
and
who
I'm
said
trying to
he
describe my
fled
position
because he was
that I've
afraid
made clear
and not because
numerous
of Zion.
times
Here's the
over and
clip.
over again,
Here's
but
the
you're
clip.
too busy trying to get a gotcha
Here's the
here
clip.
so you can fucking
Here's
farm
the
a clip.
clip.
But everyone's still going to think you're a fucking loser, dude.
Here's
I'm
the clip.
sorry.
Create,
Just shut up and
to
listen
heighten
if
the
you want to
tensions
actually
in
hear
your-
my
Here's the clip.
perspective.
I'm shutting up and listening to you.
Okay,
Grog
thank you.
For the Iraqi Jews. Because when anti-Semitism increases in the West, Israel sees that as a complementary
This is
tool
not the
to its
fucking
Zionist
clip that I'm
project,
talking
its
about, by
Zionist
the way.
ambition of bringing either all Jews to Israel, or at least make Jews in the Western world that are outside of Israel, Jews in diaspora, support Israel, because it gives additional credence to the argument. It gives additional credence to the argument that no Jew is ever safe if there is no Jewish state. That is the underpinning of the Zionist project in general.
Why did you not mention
it.
the anti-Semitism? You exclusively talk about Zionism being the reason for forcing them out. Why do you deny that they were expelled by force, the vast majority of them?
Ethan, if you think that that is the entirety of my perspective on this matter,
Illuminate me.
You please need to stop talking and listen to the amount of times that I've talked
Explain.
about this. Okay?
Bro, just explain yourself.
I'm trying, but you keep
I just watched a
interjecting.
clip of you being pretty dismissive about the flight. And by the way, you've done it this whole time. You say that Zionism
no, I'm
was the
dismissive
main
about
force.
the aspect that this is beneficial to the Zionist project across the board, because Israel wants all Jews to be constantly fucking terrified in any other country that's not Israel, so that they can actually go and either support Israel if they're not in Israel, or just move to Israel. That is the entire point. That is what Jabotinsky wanted. That is what Herzl wanted. And that is precisely what Benjamin Netanyahu wants as well. So in terms of my explanation, or what I come across as dismissive, is precisely the role that Israel itself played in this process.
Which
because
was
it was a
minuscule.
mutually beneficial relationship that
Minuscule.
anti-Semitic pogroms did take
Minuscule.
place.
What you fail to acknowledge is that the Jews were forced to become Zionists, not by choice, but by necessity.
Oh my
because the
God.
Arab countries turned on them after the war and
Yes, I
forced
get the
them to
position
go
that
to
you're
the
trying
only
to arrive
state
at, which is
that they
it's
could
a
go to.
necessity for Israel to exist, which is what your
What?
position is, right?
No, it's not about what was allowed or not. The Arabs created 1 million Zionists because they're anti-Semitic after the War of 1948 and fucking the rise of Arab nationalism. Do you deny that?
You brought up Morocco.
Do you
as an
deny what I just said?
Wait, say it again. I
Do
wasn't
you
listening.
deny what I just said?
Say it again. I wasn't listening.
900,000 Jews, approximately 700 to 900,000, were forced to become Zionists, not by choice, but because they were forced out.
Who
The
forced
vast
them?
majority went to the fucking Arabs, the
There you
anti-Semitic
go.
Arabs.
There you go.
What? There you go. What? That's my point. Are you
I
you
rest my
okay?
case.
Okay. Well, I mean,
No,
you
you're
can.
too fucking delusional to realize what kind of racist nonsense you're fucking
That's
chirping on. That was my
unbelievable,
entire
bro.
point. Thank
It's
you.
historic. I mean, it's historical. You don't know anything of what you're talking about. Avi Schleim, once again, because you don't want to contend, you like to use him when it's convenient. He left not because they were Zionists. They left because they were
fucking
afraid.
Arabs. What was Avi Schleim, by the way?
Yeah, he was an Arab Jew. They didn't see him that way. They kicked his ass out. I'm not saying
Interesting.
fucking
Does
Arabs.
he not-
There's a reason for it. There was a rise in Arab nationalism following the 1948 war. They blamed their own Jewish populace for what Israel did. That's anti-Semitism.
Arabs,
They had
right?
nothing to do. Do you think
Yeah.
the Iraqi Jews left their 2,000-year-old communities, left their businesses, left their houses because they wanted to go to Israel? Are you fucking mad?
Ethan, remember
you
a while back
deny.
I tweeted and you got really mad when I said that there's a double standard between Islamophobia and
There's
anti-Semitism?
absolutely a double standard, and you exhibit
and
it,
you're
my friend.
participating in it right now without even recognizing that
It's
you're
historical.
doing so.
I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
telling
it's
you
just
literally what
historical
happened.
racism. All Arabs are not
They were
responsible.
racist. Do people never get racist? Do people never be? I'm explaining why. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just explaining why. After the
No, dude, you don't
1948
understand.
war,
That's not even
the
the point
rise
of
of Arab
contention here.
nationalism
You're having a hard time
created a
comprehending
lot
what I'm saying.
of anti-Semitism, and that's why the vast majority of the Jews, the 900,000 of them, were forced to immigrate. That's a fact. That is a historical fact.
Ethan, I'm sorry to say this, and I don't know if your audience gets this as well, but what you just said earlier is not an accurate reflection of history. It's just pure
How do you know that?
racism.
How do you know that?
You
How do
are
you know that it's
shifting
not
the
real?
blame over to the entirety
absolutely
of Arabs.
was
at a
the
time
blame of
when
the
every
Arabs.
single one of these Arab countries with
Absolutely.
their
Who
own
else
version
kicked
of
them out?
pan-Arabic nationalism.
They
Half of
kicked
them
them
were
out.
already still controlled, by the way, by fucking European colonial powers like Vichy France.
That was literally
designing
just
the
in
Moroccan
Tunisia,
expulsion
okay?
program, and you're using that as a similarity between the planned expulsion of 750,000 Palestinians.
Yeah, I mean, the details are different, but you're denying. Like, once again,
It's like-
you're still not disproving me. What
It's
did
like-
I say
it's like
that is
pointing
is
to, it's like
hilariously
pointing to like
racist and wrong?
anti-German racism.
Don't make an
happening.
analogy.
It's
Tell me
like
why I'm
pointing to
wrong.
Anti-German racism.
I don't need an
happening
analogy. I
during-
need facts from you. Why am I wrong?
It's as though you are pointing to
No.
anti-German racism happening
me-
during the
Tell
fucking
me
German conquest.
a fact. Tell me a fact, right, that proves that I'm wrong. That the vast majority of Jews fled because
It's
of
not what you're
anti-Semitism in the Arab
saying.
states.
It's
Oh,
not
really?
what you're
It's not.
saying.
So I didn't
that
say
take
anything
issue
wrong.
With. It's the
I didn't say anything wrong.
comparison. It's
I
the
didn't say anything wrong, but I'm
comparison.
racist.
It's the idea that all Arabs are fucking one-minded and not and have something to do with Palestinians in general. Yes, I never said that there wasn't any fucking
there
anti-Arab
definitely-
anti-Jewish sentiment that also.
Were the vast majority of Jews, did they leave because of anti-Semitism or Zionism?
The vast majority of Jews,
Did they leave?
regardless of whether or not they left for
Zionism
anti-Semitism
or
or Zionist
anti-Semitism?
purposes, is not comparable to the Nakba.
You're not answering.
It
Did
is
they
not
leave because of
comparable to the Nakba.
I don't care. That's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm not
it has
comparing them.
everything to do
And
with
then,
what
by
you're
the way,
talking
they're
about.
both.
You made that
they're
comparison
both
to
unique.
say, like,
Yeah.
to make it seem as though it was a much larger crime.
No, because
that
people
Jews
like
had to
you ignore
withstand
the
in
trauma of
different
the fact that
countries.
you want to tell that people in Israel to go back to where they came from. This is where they're from. They were forced
Wait,
to
they
go
could,
to Israel.
They could right now. They could go tomorrow.
Really? The
Yes.
Iraqi Jews can go back to their home tomorrow. The Egyptian
Iraqi
Jews can go back to their homes tomorrow.
Absolutely.
That is insane.
What
you
are
are
you talking?
fucking
Yes,
out
they
of your
can.
mind.
They absolutely
okay, how?
can.
Tell me how.
They
How
absolutely
do the
can.
Jews
They
go
don't
back
want
to their?
And I understand why they wouldn't want to because America fucking
No,
invaded
they
and
they
destroyed
want
Iraq.
to.
But yes,
Why
they
would
could.
how?
What do you mean?
How would they go back and reclaim their lost assets, their lost property?
There were literally different schemes designed at this.
And by the way, how did they
points,
become citizens?
At different points throughout this 76-year-long, drawn-out apartheid structure, there were numerous instances where, yes, there was a right to return offered to Jews and even restitution for the homes that they lost in the process. So yes, you're wrong. You simply don't know the facts. You are wrong.
You won't say what fact I'm getting wrong.
I just told you.
Did the vast majority of Jews immigrate to Israel following 1948 because of Zionism or because of anti-Semitism?
No. Don't run away from this point.
Answer the fucking question.
I don't discount anti-Semitism as a direct consequence of pan-Arabic nationalism that took place in numerous countries. I have issues with your comparison. Okay?
Who's comparing? You keep saying that. I'm not talking about the Nakba.
Brought that
I'm
up
talking about your unwillingness to recognize Jewish plight.
You brought that up deliberately to say more Jews were displaced than Palestinians were.
I think that's an interesting fact that you clearly don't fucking ever want to mention because it really messes up your beautiful little narrative.
So why did you bring that fact up right after you talked about the 1948 war?
Because the point is
that
two people were traumatized.
I think that comparison is disgusting.
There was two people that were traumatized. There was two people that were displaced unfairly. It was the Palestinians and it was the Middle Eastern Jews. They both have trauma. You failed to acknowledge one group. You shit on the other one. I, unlike you, acknowledge both groups. I acknowledge both groups. You acknowledge one. What?
That's what you're doing. And you're also attributing.
How? How am I doing that?
You're attributing anti-Semitic violence in different countries to.
At the same time, following 1948, pan-Arab nationalism. You said that yourself.
Yes.
These 5 Arab countries were defeated in 1948, and they turned super fucking anti-Semitic as a result. They became ultra-nationalist Arabs. It became popular. As Israel declared independence, they said, "Fuck no, we don't want this country here." And yeah, they all became anti-Semitic. That's a historical fact that you denied.
You also failed to recognize that Iraqi Jews have been allowed to return to Iraq, and there have been numerous instances where Jews were given an opportunity to return.
How many Jews live in Iraq?
But you don't want.
How many Jews live in Iraq?
What?
How many Jewish people
right now? But they can.
How many Jews live in the Middle East outside of Israel?
Why would it? Why do you
think
Iraqi
none?
Where'd
they go? If it was so fucking great for them,
why would Iraqi Jews not want to go to Iraq? You think right now?
0 Jews, virtually 0 Jews live outside of Israel in the Middle East. Why is that? You don't think that none of them wanted to fucking stay at home?
I don't know. Maybe because there was a religious ethno-supremacist state that was backed by a lot of Western states as a direct destabilizer in the fucking region with mass migration happening, especially, of course, mass migration happening, and then in the aftermath of the Holocaust with a shit ton more refugees coming in was a much more viable state for them.
Here's the problem.
The viability of said state, of course, is partially a consequence of the other countries and the hostility that people felt towards Jewish people.
You don't want to blame the Arabs.
This in and of itself is the heart of the problem, because people conflate Zionism with Judaism, and you do that.
That's what the Arabs did when they kicked them all out.
I know, and I don't think it's appropriate. That's
and so why are you blaming the Zionists and not the fucking Arabs for being racist? Why do you deny the Jewish trauma?
Arabs.
Why do you deny the 900,000 traumatized Jews that were forced, including, by the way, what you keep ignoring, Avi Schleim.
Quick question.
Avi Schleim said we didn't leave Iraq because we were Zionists. We left because we were afraid. Are you hearing that?
Ethan, do you blame the English for the Holocaust?
No.
Who did the Holocaust, Ethan?
Just fucking make your point. I'm not playing this
Come on,
silly
who
game.
did the Holocaust? Just say it.
Make your point, dude. I'm not a fucking.
Why not? I'm asking you a question. It's a super simple question.
Avi Schleim said we left Iraq
I asked
because
you who was responsible for the Holocaust.
Why would I answer such a stupid rhetorical question? Just make your point.
Wait, you know the answer to this, right? Like, come on, what are you looking at on your fucking computer? Like, which country is responsible for the Holocaust?
Anytime you want to make your point.
What?
I would appreciate.
Wait, what is happening, dude? When you already okay, here, whatever. You said already.
I would appreciate if you would just listen to one thing I would say.
It wasn't the English, right? It's not the responsibility of the British that the Holocaust happened, right? You understand that? You recognize that, right?
Well, I would say the nation most directly guilty for the Holocaust was probably Nazi Germany.
Okay. Did you just read that from your laptop?
No, I'm
whatever.
eloquent, unlike your dumbass.
I mean, yes, it is. Okay. Notice how you don't actually
I'm fabulous,
put every
bitch.
single fucking country. There was plenty of anti-Semitism in England too. Notice how you don't fucking say all Europe. All of Europe is responsible for the Holocaust.
Was there concentration
but
camps
you say
in the UK?
all Arabs.
Okay.
The point is,
okay. There's no Jews in the Middle East. None. Can you listen to one thing? I have one thing important to say that I really want you just to listen to, okay? Avi Schleim said they did not leave Iraq because they were Zionists. They left because they were afraid.
Yes.
You are denying his family's trauma.
Oh
you
my
are
God.
blaming his family's trauma on Zionists.
Will you talk to him about this?
Sure. I mean, he's going to agree with that. I read it from his fucking book.
If you're so confident in all of this, okay, that would be great. All right. Perfect. Okay.
So I listen.
No, you should.
I'll debate all these people instead of you. I have time. Unfortunately, like I said, it's getting late, so I just want to make one last point before we go, which is that always remember, Hasan, that when people criticize me, I watch it on my stream by myself live, unlike a bitch-made coward like yourself, who needs someone to hold your hand, make all the excuses in the world to avoid any single criticism, any response. You, my friend, are a coward, and I am the fucking legend that responded to it live with zero hesitation. But you know why? Because I'm not a liar. I don't have to think about the shit that I say and justify it. You lie. That's why you can't do it, because you'll get caught in those lies.
Five-hour endeavor made you look good. Then congratulations. Okay.
You don't think it was good that you don't think that it was a supreme confidence that I responded to it immediately live?
Ethan, it took you 4 months to actually entertain the notion of having a conversation with me. I don't give a fuck about watching YouTube videos. I don't know why you think that I'm afraid of watching
your You watch 11 hate videos
on
on your channel. 11 hate videos. I've watched 0 about you, Hasan. Do you want to actually discuss who's the coward?
Videos, dumbass! Your fucking community is the hate community. Why the fuck would you have to watch hate videos or whatever? You are the one who was doing it.
Just remember, when criticism comes, I confront
it. Well, thank you for backtracking
when
on
criticism
at least 7
comes
of the
to you,
Maybe we should go through the context puke one more time so we can continue.
If you want to watch
this conversation later, okay?
If you want, listen.
I'll hold
if
your
you want
hand
to
through
watch
all the other dumb shit that you said in it. It's not because I'm afraid. It's because you were crying because you.
No, it is definitely because you're afraid. Why is it you didn't pull? Why is it you love Ban Empanada, but when he makes a video criticizing you, you say I'm not watching that?
Because I think it's. You want to know why? Because I think it's fucking unproductive to literally
watch criticism of me, you fucking coward.
Yeah, because you're fucking presenting yourself and developing an audience that is literally, without even realizing it, because they are only drama obsessed. Without realizing it, they're literally positioning themselves to be pro-Israel, to repeat pro-Israel talking points. Yes, that is the only reason why I started talking about you. Because you went on a fucking deplatforming campaign.
Why did you not watch Bad Empanada's video about you? You watched all of it?
You did 110 Instagram stories on me, Ethan, since January 31st, 2025.
You're changing the...
It was so unhinged that you didn't even recognize who you have become.
You need to at least admit that it's reciprocal. I am not upset. You made 24 hours of nonstop content,
Ethan,
bro.
You
24 hours in the last 2 months
on your own personal Instagram.
We've talked about each other equally as much,
January
bro.
31st, 2025, 110 stories. It was so insane, you didn't believe it. You don't even believe your own mania.
Hasan,
please, for the love of God.
Hasan, you talked about me 24 minutes a day, every day, 7 days a week for 60 days.
Yes,
does that sound fucking reasonable?
You presented yourself as a fucking significant force trying to literally deplatform pro-Palestinian voices.
How much time do you think it makes an Instagram story?
That's why. And that's you literally, your own.
Why didn't you watch a Bad Empanada video about yourself?
Your own producers were begging you to stop talking about me, so much so that you had to set up a separate war room where you only talked about me.
What?
And that's what happened, right? Because you couldn't shut up about it. Your fans were fucking going, Ethan, we get it. He sucks.
My fans are fine, bro. Don't worry about my fans.
The entire time you frame this as though it's petty fucking drama.
It's not petty drama. You are deeply anti-Semitic, hateful, fucking propagandist liar.
And it only took you now to fucking openly say, 10 toes down, that it is a genocide, but also you don't want anyone to fucking resist against it.
I've said that consistently for years, liar.
Ethan, you don't want anyone to resist against genocide. It is a fucking untenable position.
Oh, you
It
mean
makes
kidnapping
no
civilians?
sense.
You're so pathetic, bro.
And you constantly keep smearing me as a fucking anti-Semite at a time
you're
when the
proving that
Trump
today.
administration, at a time
Today-
when the Trump administration is blackbagging people. How
Yeah,
do you
that's
not
bad
understand
happening.
that-
Don't call me out.
How do you
That's
not
bad happening. Don't
understand?
call me out. That's what you're doing.
Dude, how do you not understand?
Why didn't you watch the bad
that
Empanada video?
You are playing a formative role when you don't talk about Mahmoud Khalil. You're
Just
playing
remember,
a formative
everybody
role
watching.
when you don't talk about the mass starvation of Gazans.
By the way,
You
I
are not-
advocated for Kamala to get elected. What'd you do? I told people to vote for Kamala. What'd you do?
Oh,
No, seriously.
oh,
What'd you
Ethan,
do?
congratulations. Congratulations
Kamala
for
and Trump
advocating for
would have been
Kamala.
equally
I won't
bad?
change anything from Joe Biden's policies, Harris.
It's
What
not
did
Joe
I do?
Biden, it's
well,
Kamala
not only did I
Harris.
go to the DNC, but I actually
not-
offered some pretty fucking valuable criticism to the Democratic
got
Party that they
kicked
didn't
out, by the
listen
way.
to, unfortunately.
Didn't they
And
kick you
because
out
they
of the
didn't listen to
DNC?
that valuable criticism, they lost. Why have you lied about me voting for Jill Stein, by the way? Can we talk about that?
Who did
Why
you-
the fuck
I don't know.
do you
Who'd
keep
you-
saying I voted for Jill Stein? I have
Who did you vote for?
countless hours shitting on Jill Stein. I've told people
said I
not
think
to
you
vote for
did.
Trump. I've said that
I
Donald
said-
Trump is significantly worse than Kamala Harris. And I've also, on top of that, called Jill Stein a grifter
Yeah, you
over
didn't
and
endorse
over and
her.
over again. But for some weird reason, despite the fact that I voted live, mind you, you kept
And you
lying
didn't
to
say
your
who
audience.
for.
And you kept lying to your audience, and you
I
kept
said I
making it
think.
seem as though I didn't even fucking vote, or I urged people not to vote. There's never been a moment
Who'd
where
you
I
vote
said,
for?
do not vote.
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got a problem?
No, I got no problem, but I think there's
you
people
don't
in your
have a
audience that
problem.
would.
You don't have a problem with that.
Why didn't you
the
endorse
fuck
her
do you
then?
keep saying I voted for Jill Stein, huh?
I said I think because you didn't
you
say who you
think.
voted for.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh,
it's
you
an opinion.
think? Oh, you don't give a fuck, dude. It doesn't matter who I vote for anyway. You're out of your fucking mind. I did not endorse Kamala Harris,
Why didn't-
and I will never endorse Kamala Harris.
But you
and I
voted
did
for
not
her.
endorse Joe Biden.
And now
because
Trump's
you wanna
president.
Know why? Because you want to know why?
Trump's
Because it's
building the
fucking
Riviera
embarrassing
in Gaza
that
Strip,
they
and guess
did-
what? You're fucking love that shit because you get to keep making content about it, and you get to keep making videos, and you guarantee there will never be peace there.
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
won't
As opposed
acknowledge
to
the
you.
trauma of both
As
sides.
As
Two
opposed to
things
you,
must
Ethan,
always
how
be
much
true,
content have you
Hasan.
made about Donald Trump? How much content have you made about fucking Donald Trump? You literally defended his terrorist regime. What the fuck are you talking about? And then you have to
Again,
apologize
bro.
because you're an
The thing is
embarrassing
you can't-
figure.
you
Okay?
can't
Listen to
fathom.
me. Listen to me.
You
It
can't
is
fathom that
embarrassing that
somebody
you have
says
tried to make a
something wrong
foray
and
into
come back
politics,
and corrects
and
it.
all of the producers or all the people that are giving you fucking talking points is not going to
I
make you
didn't
come
defend the
across as
tariffs.
smart in this process. Please, for
Hasan,
your own
you're
mental sanity, stop trying to do this. You are basically brain breaking a shit ton of people into idiotic positions. You clearly don't care about people who have actually voted for Donald Trump, considering your allegiance with people who have literally directly voted for Donald Trump.
Who's my
okay?
allegiance? Who's my allegiance?
What do you
to?
mean? You have fucking Trump supporters that you're friends with. Like Steiny in general. When I have a conversation with him, I'm actually directly fucking addressing some of the shit that he's
Did you watch my
saying,
interview
like the
with him,
Nelk
you
boys and
fucking
whatnot.
dipshit? That our entire conversation was me arguing with him and telling him why Trump's bad and why transphobia is bad. You
Yeah.
are
You're going
insanely
out,
incompetent.
you're playing poker with people who fucking voted for Donald Trump.
You
You're
were just on
defending
Nelk's- you were
Asmongold
just on
and
Steiny's
saying
podcast,
Asmongold
you
is
hypocrite.
not actually Trump coded. Okay?
spent
You're doing
hours
all this
shitting on
because they
Steiny.
don't.
You're just a
Asmongold
liar.
has been a valuable figure shitting on me this entire time. And that's the only reason why you act like he's not that significant of a force. That's it.
When did I say
You
that?
will take help from anyone and everyone,
And it-
no
and this-
matter what
and
their
it was all
background
written by
is.
Destiny,
You
right?
claim to care. You claim to care about rape, and you're hyping up a dude who has a segment on a show called Ultimate Rape Review. The reason why you're hyping up that dude
Ultimate
is
Rape
because
Review?
you don't give a fuck.
are you
All you
talking
care about is
about?
petty drama. This is your only content. Stop doing petty drama content. Shut the fuck up about politics and get back to goofs and gaffes. And it will be fine. People will forget that you have behaved in this way. But you don't want to do that. It's become a fucking personal agenda for you that people don't like you. It must be anti-Semitism. No, they don't like you because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And you have to be babied by goddamn producers as a 40-year-old adult. That's the reason why people don't like it. That's it.
Very good. Very good. Now, why don't you watch Bad Empanada's videos about you?
Because he's pro-Palestine, and I don't give a
Huh?
fuck about. Because
He was criticizing you.
pro-Palestine, and I don't
Oh, you're
care
such
about
a
the
coward,
difference in
Hasan.
methods
It's
that we
unbelievable.
have.
All right, very
Because
good.
there's
I'm
no
out of
reason
my
to
depth. I
divide
shouldn't
the
talk
movement.
about.
And if you were pro-Palestine, I would never
Despite
talk
you-
about you either. That's the real reason.
Uh-oh. Can you please contend with the Avi Schleim quote that they left not because of Zionism, but because of they were afraid?
Dude, come on. Enough. You have Avi Schleim on the show. Talk to him about it, okay? Maybe
Okay,
it'll
sure,
go
yeah.
down exactly like you thought with Sam Cedar.
How did it go with Sam Cedar? I think if anything, Sam kind of embarrassed himself. I genuinely do. I hate to say it because I like Sam.
A 40-year-old man
but
who
like
needs a fucking button when he has like a little oopsie
Did I button?
moment is
Did I
actually
button?
the one who's talking about Sam Cedar embarrassing himself.
Did I button during that
He lowered
debate?
himself to talk to you man to man and try to
That's
explain
what you
was going on.
wanted. That's what you asked for. Why
wanted
would
that
you want to
conversation
lower
be
his
private,
status?
I wanted that conversation.
Why
to be
did you
private
lower
because
his
I thought you'd be
status?
convinced. I didn't realize you were this fucking drama obsessed. You thought
Drama
Sam Cedar
obsessed.
was
We had
gonna
an
give you
argument
clips
about
that you could
fucking
use
South
against
Africa
me.
apartheid. What's drama about that?
What?
You're fucking dude.
I can't
Listen,
hear what you
enjoy.
said. What did you say?
It doesn't matter. Just remember, when it comes to criticism, I watch it. You ignore it. It's so important.
It's actually peaceful because you're gonna clip chimp the fucking shit that Loner Box told you, and then you're
Why
gonna
was
say
it what?
the violent things that
Hasan.
the ANC did were in the Truth and Reconciliation Committee attributed to. And
Hasan, how many civilians died in the 20 years in the ANC during the ANC's?
It was like 200, I think, or
Less than
1,000.
100. How many people did Hamas kill on one day? Nelson Mandela, which I'll read you a quote from his trial. I'll read you a quote.
Are you comparing the apartheid structure in South Africa to 76 years of colonial occupation?
Don't you do that all the time?
No, the number is
You call it
far
apartheid
larger,
all the
and
time.
the militancy has gotten far more radical as a direct consequence of Israel becoming far more radical. Because as I told you, and you seemingly understood when we first had this conversation after October 7, that the maintenance of an apartheid is an inherently violent endeavor. And as a matter of fact, the resistance to said apartheid is only going to get worse and worse as time moves on. This is precisely the reason why the first Intifada was fought with stones, little children throwing rocks, and the second Intifada in the aftermath of horrific acts of terror against Palestinians who were at a mosque praying. The second Intifada, as a matter of fact, was fought with bombs.
Historical quote. I'm not just grandstanding. Mandela, from his trial in 1960, said, and I quote, "There were 4 forms of violence that were possible. One was sabotage, one was guerrilla warfare, one was terrorism, and then there was open revolution. We chose to adopt the first method as it exhausted it before taking any other decision. In light of our political background, the choice was a logical one. Sabotage did not involve loss of life, and it offered the best hope for future race relations. Bitterness would be kept minimum, and if a policy bore fruit, democratic government could become a reality. This is what we felt at the time, and this is what we said in our manifesto.
Keep going.
We have always sought to achieve liberation without bloodshed and civil clash. We hope, even at this late hour, that our first actions will awaken everyone to the realization that the disastrous situation which the nationalist policy is leading. We hope that we will bring the government and its supporters to their senses before it's too late, so that both the government and its policies can be changed before matters reach the desperate state of war."
Notice how the end part of that is getting ready for rebellion. I feel like given the
Did they?
Yeah, because the
No, they
apartheid
didn't.
structure dissolved as a direct consequence of pressure campaigns and also militancy, which Nelson Mandela not once but twice was presented
what's
with
Hamas
the
doing
option
for
of having a
liberation?
sentence commuted, which he refused to do. They said, Nelson Mandela, if you disavow violence...
On principle. He said, I will not remain in jail because a prisoner can't negotiate. A prisoner
Yes,
can't
that was
decide.
the first time.
He said
And in both
no
circumstances,
both times. He
in
refused
both
on principle.
circumstances, in
Less
both
than 100
circumstances-
people died during the 20-year period. Anyone that attacked civilians, they were disavowed. The ANC repeatedly apologized and disavowed violence against civilians.
When did they do that?
Less than 100 civilians died.
When did they do that?
Hamas killed 1,000 civilians
did they
on
do
one
that?
fucking day.
No, 1,000 civilians. The
Yeah.
poor civilian Israeli soldiers that died in their military bases. The
No,
civilians.
there was like, bro, you're so dumb.
What do you mean I'm
300
so dumb? These numbers
Okay,
matter.
how many civilians died? How many civilians died?
I believe the total number of casualties in October 7 was 1,200, with 800 being civilians, which is completely unacceptable,
Oh my
mind you,
God,
and
I'm
400
off by
being
100.
military members.
I was off by 100. Oh my God, dude! I can't believe the historical
Well, you just
inaccuracies.
made a
You're an
big.
idiot.
You're the one who's bringing up numbers here, Ethan. And yes, I do think
I
it's
was
important to
virtually
recognize
correct.
something here that you are seemingly failing to recognize. Nelson Mandela was thrown in prison because he went and trained with the FLN in Algeria. The reason why he stayed in fucking prison was because he refused to disavow
Principle.
violence, because he understood that as long as peaceful
Sabotage is
revolution
violence.
is
I didn't say he's a
impossible,
pacifist.
that
I never said
violent
he's a
revolution
pacifist.
is inevitable. And violent
and I never said
revolution
he's a
they did
pacifist.
do.
You know what's funny?
In terms of the death and destruction on the apartheid structure, by the way, it
Was
is
Nelson Mandela a
incomprehensible to compare
Zionist?
that to Israel's violence against the Palestinians.
Was
What Israel has
Nelson
done to the
Mandela
Palestinians is
a
far worse.
Zionist?
And by the way, that's not my assessment. What Israel has done to the Palestinians for the past 76 years is infinitely worse. And
Well,
that
let's
is
ask
not my
someone that lived
assessment,
through
by the way.
apartheid.
That is the assessment of Mandela. And for all the, for all of the moments that he was able to fucking
You think
see.
Mandela said what's happening is worse than what we went through? That's bullshit. Why would he say that? It's
Why
not
would he
your
say that?
life.
Because it's true, Ethan. That's
Okay.
why.
Is Nelson Mandela a Zionist?
Yes, Nelson Mandela. Are you going to say in 1999 he said Israel has a legal right to exist? In that
More
same
than
speech that you're
He
going to
said more
fucking
than
clip,
that.
chimp.
Remember that you called this guy a neo-Nazi, not fit to be a dog catcher.
Who?
That's
what?
what you said about
Wait,
Nelson
wait, wait,
Mandela.
what are you
No,
talking
what?
about?
Yeah, you-
Whoa, 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 you're jumping off like a million different points. What?
Right of Israel to exist as a state legally. We have stood quite openly and firmly for the right of that state to exist within secured borders.
You disagree with that statement?
Does Israel has a right to exist? Not in the way
Within-
that it currently
wi-
does.
with- within secure borders.
Hold on.
Coward.
Do you know what he says after that clip?
Yeah, that he also thinks that Palestinians also need to be acknowledged, which, by the way, is my fucking point.
No, not that.
Palestinian
Not that.
liberation
No,
and Israeli
no,
borders
no.
are
Ethan,
two sides of the same coin.
He didn't just say Palestinians also need to be acknowledged.
What'd he say?
He says that if peaceful means of coexistence is impossible, then violence is inevitable, Ethan. Why did you clip that out of the fucking clip, chimp, that you posted, Ethan?
Irrelevant. You saying I clip chimp Nelson Mandela?
Yes, you literally did. You cut him out of context because it doesn't
No, I
suit
did-
your
he's a
fucking
Zionist.
purpose.
What do you mean? He's talking philosophically. He's talking philosophically.
You think it's
He's
irrelevant? We're having a conversation about Nelson Mandela and whether or not he actually believes in violence. Whether or not he
Sabotage-
actually
oh,
believes in
God.
violence. You have said time and time again that he was a peaceful dove. He's never actually done any violence
No, I
whatsoever.
literally
there
didn't.
Are numerous instances on stream.
inevitability. A philosophical warning is not an endorsement. He was speaking as a warning to them, which was apt.
Brother, that is insane.
What?
Nelson Mandela was literally on a terror watch list since 2008.
Who gives a fuck?
What do you mean who gives a fuck? You like to use the terrorism watch list when you're talking about the Houthis, or you like to use the terrorist watch list when you're talking about Hezbollah and Hamas.
I mean, I gave you specific examples of why those organizations are bad.
Who do you think that was a?
I don't.
Who do you think the philosophical point that he was making? The guy who was in prison for violent resistance, by the way, who trained militancy.
Violent resistance? You mean
ready
sabotage?
for rebellion, by the way.
Sabotage.
Who
Sabotage
do
and
you think
give
that was a
government
warning
infrastructure.
to? Do you think that was a warning to Palestinians, or do you think that was a warning to Israel?
fact that you
because
are
that
so
same Nelson
willing-
Mandela has time and time again also
we got
repeated
it.
that no one is free until Palestine is free. That same Nelson Mandela that you're trying to fucking use in this situation has said that this is a united struggle, that Israel's actions against the Palestinians are abhorrent, that it is akin to what they have experienced in apartheid South Africa, if not worse. So the idea that you can make this comparison because you think
I
it
want
suits your
Palestine to be
fucking
free, my
argument
friend.
is so stupid. And the
no,
only way you can do that is by cutting it out of context.
No, I just explained why. Dude, I want Palestine to be free. But you know what? I don't think Hamas is furthering that goal. I think Hamas is counterproductive. They're making it worse. They're causing it to be inevitable.
Why are they making it worse?
You refuse to criticize them, which is pathetic.
Why are they
Unlike
making it
me,
worse, Ethan?
I'm willing
Why
to
are they making it
criticize the
worse?
Israeli
Why are they
government.
making
I'm
it
willing to
worse?
come to terms with the cruel reality.
No, walk through
Hamas.
it. Why are they making it worse?
Well, what was the fucking objective there on October 7th, genius?
Kidnapping, which by the way I don't even agree with, which is an international human rights violation. But kidnapping Israeli soldiers, Israeli civilians to draw out.
And what part about that was
concessions,
slaughtering
to
fucking
draw out
families in their
concessions.
homes?
Ethan, I don't agree.
Their goal
with
was to
the
kill
tactics.
civilians.
You know this already. We're not relitigating this over and over again after.
I'm just saying,
17
Hamas
years,
is a bunch of
17 months fucking genocide.
All right.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think?
One day you're gonna watch a video response I make.
Probably not. When you apologize for all the fucking harm that you've done.
Apologize? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Listen.
I have the rest of the clip that you clipped, Chimp, by the way, if you want to hear his actual fucking full-fleshed opinions.
I can. I'm not hiding from it. I literally acknowledge what he said. I don't care.
But so why did you say that he was actually? Why did you say that he was
point
actually
I was making
a peaceful resistance type of guy?
When did I say that? When the fuck did I say that, you liar?
You said it on numerous occasions, as opposed to
Lie.
you said that on numerous occasions before
I
someone
said
told
he
you.
used
No, actually,
violent.
here's a better way to massage that.
You
narrative.
are a liar. I said he uses violent means such as sabotage. He didn't kill
Ethan,
civilians. That's what I said.
Will you stop talking if I show you numerous instances where you have said Nelson Mandela was peaceful?
I'm not gonna. You get those together, okay?
I mean, there's.
You're
you
gonna
said he
do
was a
great.
pacifist.
You're gonna do great.
Ethan,
yeah,
you
go ahead and
literally
grab
said he was a
those.
pacifist to Sam
I
Cedar.
never said Nelson Mandela was a pacifist.
Ethan, you said it
That
to
is an insane lie.
You said it to Sam Cedar 2 days ago.
So you got to watch that back because you're once again a liar. You have no problem lying. You have no problem saying that I work with the ADO without any evidence. You
Ethan,
fucking have no
you've
problem
said on
discrediting
numerous
the
occasions
suffering
that
of
Nelson
Jewish
Mandela
refugees.
is a pacifist.
Okay, well, prove
And
it.
the full quote, by the way, of Nelson Mandela is from when he visited Gaza in 1999.
When did I call him a
that I was referring to.
pacifist?
Choose
That's
peace rather
insane.
than confrontation, except in cases where we cannot move forward. Then, if the only alternative is violence, we will use violence.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a pacifist to you?
I meant that he didn't kill civilians.
Do you think Nelson
His
Mandela
approach
would fuck
is
with the
vastly
Houthis?
different than what Hamas
Do you
is
think
doing.
Nelson Mandela would like what the Houthis are doing?
I don't know. Let's fucking dig him out of his grave and ask him.
That's kind of weird because, I mean, you said he was doing peaceful means of resistance.
Do
like
I think Nelson
sabotage.
Mandela would be in favor of kidnapping 10 civilians? No,
Yes,
of course
he would.
not.
100% he would.
All right. Well, while you're busy putting words in a dead man's
100% he
mouth,
would. What are you talking about? Nelson Mandela bombed the fucking church and shit. What are you talking about? Not Nelson Mandela directly.
he
was in prison,
didn't fuck with civilians, bro. That was his thing. He wanted to be as peaceful as possible because he knew that if he killed and targeted civilians, it would make reunification
you're right.
impossible.
Israel's doing
That's
a
a
genocide because
historical
Palestinians are not
fact.
resisting in the
Less than
appropriate
100
ways.
civilians died in 20-year period. I mean, what do you want more than that? Hamas killed 1,000 or 900. So sorry.
800. But also,
I am so 800. You're right. You know
I mean,
what?
it's
That's
seemingly-
better.
It's seemingly important. You're the one who's
That's
bringing up
better.
numbers. Now, what you again fail to recognize is, of course, the length, and not only that, but also the resistance against apartheid South Africa included military resistance on top of that. But that's not even my point here. Okay.
Huh?
My point is that the apartheid in South Africa and the resistance against it was a far shorter period with far less casualties on the South African side as opposed to Israel's complete ethnic cleansing campaign that is has started now, but even before its ethnic cleansing campaign.
Well, then don't compare Hamas to Nelson Mandela.
Because the situation is far worse, Ethan. Because Israel has killed every Nelson Mandela. Israel would have probably killed Nelson Mandela if they had the opportunity to do so.
I'm sure, and they would have done everything bad that's ever happened in the world.
Wait, do you know why I said that? No, don't look at your laptop. Do you know why I said that?
I'm not. Let me guess. You, I don't. Oh, tell me.
No, go ahead. Just throw up a guess.
All right, listen. It's 5 o'clock. I'm not doing this.
Oh, you don't want to do this?
You can tell me, or
Okay.
you cannot. You want to? I'll stand here if you want to tell me, but I'm not going to sit here and play
Israel
rhetorical
was
games.
aligned with South Africa, the apartheid government, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
I know. They made nuclear bombs with them. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
What's that have to do with anything,
Yeah.
fuckhead? When did I defend
well,
that?
they're both apartheids, so.
Yeah, when did I deny that? All right,
you
listen,
know.
it's 5 o'clock. Like I said, I have a family to go to. I have 3 kids and a wife, and I know that you have a fucking cool-ass race car bed to sleep in, and I hope you enjoy that.
Okay, man. Thank you. Have a good one. I hope this was productive. Dan, he needs you more than you need him. Stop babying this man, please. He needs you more than you need him. Stop babying him.
Well, I know that's true, but I don't baby him.
Come on. Okay. All right.
You want to target the crew more?
I'm not
You wanna-
targeting
you wanna
the
drum
crew.
up
These are
harassment?
my
targeting anything. It's
coworkers.
fine.
I have
It's
a
fine.
tremendous amount of respect for the crew. They are what
Hey,
makes
Bad
this show
Empanada
great.
called AB a house slave.
What?
Bad Empanada called AB a
Yeah,
house
he's
slave.
wrong. What the fuck do you want? I've never
Okay,
said
well,
that.
you
Why
watch
are
his
bringing
videos
up
a
Bad
lot.
Empanada? Do you think I
Why do
agree
you
with
s-
everything he says? No, of course not.
You endorse him.
Ethan, I've endorsed
All right, we
his
gotta go.
YouTube
You promote
video
him all the
essays
time.
that
That's a
I
fact.
agree with, that I think are very well thought out. I don't endorse
All right,
his
listen, stop being a
techniques or
coward and
methods
watch
or
some fair
opinions overall.
criticism. Please stop being a coward and just watch some criticism. It will
Yeah.
prove
No, well,
that you
this
are
was
not
pretty good.
afraid.
This was pretty productive, having this conversation, having this back and forth, don't you think?
I actually do. I think you exposed yourself deeply a few times here, and I think we'll have to wait and see, obviously, how this pans out. But I do think it was productive to show just kind of the blatant, overt,
Maybe I will
anti-Semitism that
fucking-
you.
Maybe I will watch the Context Puke.
Yes, please, and then we
maybe
can
I will
talk
watch
about it
Context
if you want.
Puke live, as a matter of fact. not
Yes,
in a
please
cowardly
do.
way. I like that. This is what it's come to, where having a face-to-face conversation is less. Is somehow
It's not
less
less.
fucking is more cowardly than like actually watching a YouTube video that you made. No, dude.
It is because-
what's cowardly
no.
is you fucking constantly crying and refusing to actually look for context and putting together putting together shit that you saw on fucking subreddits to be like, this is my argument.
Please
I'm
just
destroying
watch it
you.
watch it and tear it up and show how out of context it
Don't
was. I
worry.
love that.
Maybe I'll actually do that to fundraise for the charities that you are actively targeting by trying to undermine and celebrate with Creator Clash 3, which is, I hope.
I don't know if you know
great
this,
event.
but the last year they lost $250,000.
I
To
know,
be
man.
to be
I
charitable,
know,
you
I
actually have to
know,
give
I
money
know.
to
You
charity,
fucking
Hasan.
hate everybody that has even lightly fucking criticized you or stayed out of.
Are you
your
are you
crack
surprised
out.
that I didn't like Ian's video?
What? No, dude.
Dude, if you want to
talking about
own me,
how
listen,
poor
Hasan.
taste
If
it
you want to
is.
own
I'm
me by
talking about
donating
how
to
poor taste
charity,
it is
I
that you're
think that's
gloating that a
fantastic.
fucking charity event is actually like you're trying to undermine a charity event deliberately.
You have to give money to be charity. It's like a slush fund for them.
God, that's so gross, man. Okay.
I mean, what happened last year? How much money did they make? Did they do charity last
I
year?
don't know. I don't know.
They lost $250,000.
Will you debate me again, Ethan, if you keep chirping in the future?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
But if you, I think it would be good if you watch the content puke.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll
Context
do
puke,
that. To
and then
fundraise.
we can discuss it.
Maybe I'll do that to fundraise for Creator Clash.
Yes, I think it's awesome. If you want to own me by donating to charity, I think that's sick as fuck.
Yeah, maybe you should do that too. Donate some pro-Palestinian charities. I'll feel so fucking owned.
Let's own each other and donate to charity.
All right.
I know
Bye,
you guys.
Ethan.
I know you guys hate each other, but the views were crazy.
It was? How many? I
I'm
never
just
looked.
saying, think about it.
What was the views at? I never looked.
They're pretty good on both ends, like 100K.
Whose was higher?
Don't ask that question.
Hasan's was higher?
Hasan's was higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not by much, but it was higher.
That's not good. We got
I
to
mean,
do
I had
something.
120,000. I don't know what you guys had over there. I wasn't looking, but
We got up to about 100K. So
Well, we're going to have to do some. These people are clearly have some kind of brain disease, and we need to do something about it.
no, for sure. Ethan, please keep up the energy as though you feel that there is a genocide going on, because your output is what matters here. And that is what I was trying to get across to you and get across to your audience. If you think that this...
I acknowledge that I acknowledge that I could talk about it more, and I should make more of an effort to talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Instead of going after pro
And you should try not to be a fucking raging
don't like you.
anti-Semite for a day.
What?
If you can try not to be a raging anti-Semite for a day, then we can
Ethan,
shake
I don't think
hands.
you actually believe that I'm anti-Semitic. I think you're hysterical.
You
I
should
will
watch
be
back the
honest on
first
that
part of this
front.
interview.
What?
You should watch back the first part of this interview.
I
That
don't
is-
think that makes you look good.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, we'll wait. and
Unfortunately, I
see.
think your people are going to think it makes you look good, and then everybody else is going to think that might look good. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yes,
At the end
I'm
of the
sure.
day,
I'm sure that
it's
I'm
not a
su-
swastika. It's
I'm
just the
sure-
swastika sword. It's not a swastika. It's just the sword that I called the swastika sword. Got it. All right, have a good night, Hasan.
All right, you too.
I gotta go.
You
All right,
too, buddy.
You take care, bud.
All right.
Old friend.
God damn, what a fucking exercise in futility. I did lose my shit a little bit towards the end.